Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show. Weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
Agreement by which we can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button, because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you. You've already seen other people do it. You've even seen some people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this. And it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, we are back with another great episode, a continuation in our series of what ifs. And I'm going to be dealing with a what if that may seem strange to people. But I think this is going to be a real thing that, believe it or not, could be somewhat in the very, very near future. Okay. I'll put a very, very interesting link in the description. You know, just a link of a movie. Okay. But a very interesting movie. I did watch the movie. Movie was a very good movie. It actually, you know, used this particular concept as well. And y'all know people do some strange stuff sometimes, y'all. I know some people might say, well, this is kind of strange. No. People do strange stuff. Then some strange stuff can then really start becoming a regular thing. So we're going to do this what if, and it's going to be dealing with robot wives becoming normal in society, which we may not actually be that far from, truth be told. We may not actually be far from this. All right, but before we get too heavy into this, first of all, shout out to all the people who give me views on a regular basis. I appreciate y'all big time. Shout out to all the people who leave comments after the stream, because this helps with the algorithm. Shout out to all the people who hype me up every chance they get. a new way to carry the channel, hey, might as well use it, might as well promote it. And shout out to all the people who hit that like button, y'all. Y'all know that's the main thing when getting the channel boosted. So make sure you hit that like button, and it doesn't make a difference how long the stream has been up. It could be up for 6 hours. It can be up for 6 days. It can be up for 6 months. Make sure you hit that like button. Appreciate it big time. Appreciate it big time. And let me give a shout out to some of the first people to check in. Oh, yeah, before I do that, first of all, gotta thank the people who put a little money on the wood over here at the Roger Report Live, because all the money is good. And I gotta say, shout out to Trust. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. Trust is the sponsor of today's stream. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not Trust. It was Sarah B. Excuse me. Sarah B is the sponsor of today's stream. Hey, Sarah, appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. It's nice to have you here. I'm gonna say that it is definitely nice to have you here. All right. So shout out to Sarah B, who is the sponsor of today's stream. Shout out to you. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. And let me give a couple shout outs to some of the first people who checked in this morning. And y'all don't know how it go, but let me tell you how it go, y'all. If you come in too early, it ain't gonna work. You come in too late, you ain't gonna be quick enough. You got to learn to thread the needle. Okay. So shout out to the Great Black Reset for threading that needle. And he is what we like to call around these parts the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you, my brother. Glad to see you here. Glad to see you here. We also got Mr. Should to you representing for the pit crew. What's good, my brother? Shout out to you and the pit crew. Shout out to Chef Mike's Roundtable, and shout out to J Dub. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. Y'all, they help keep stuff in line around these parts. And shout out to Trail Benny, representing as he always does. Hashtag Long Live the Habitual Line Steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the Wilderness. Hashtag Dignity Over Vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's Babies. Hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. What's good? Brooklyn's finest is in the house. Great to see you. Great to see you. Floyd Thompson is here at the cool table. Yay, yay. We got Bronk in the building. What's good, my brother? What's good? Shout out to Inspired True Broadcast. Great to see you. Great to see you. And shout out to Listen. What's good, my brother? What's good? Afro Merchant is in the building. Great to have you. Great to have you, y'all. And shout out to the Great Black Reset himself. First super chat of the day. And I appreciate you. He said, I will take 2, please. I guess the more the merrier, huh? Y'all, now, I know this stuff, it seems crazy. A few decades ago, this would be crazy talk. This would be, those guys are weird. This would be something like, you guys are kidding yourselves or something, something along those lines. I'm going to say, as a content creator looking into the different things that I do, no, I don't think this is all that far off anymore. Okay. They are definitely doing some things, perfecting some of this stuff when it comes to robotics. I'm not saying I want this to come right away. I'm just saying, based on the stuff I've been able to see, and there's a lot of secret squirrel stuff out there that they don't really put out until they put it out. With the stuff I'm seeing, man, this ain't all that far away. I don't think. I ain't in no rush for it, but it definitely may not be all that far away. I would say in the next 50 years, I'm pretty sure it's here at that point. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely here, and we're gonna deal with this, y'all. What if robot wives have become this regular thing? And I think this is important because a lot of us really need to pay attention to, the value of women, which I'm going to say is plummeting right now. Okay. I'm going to say it's plummeting right now. But I think it's something that people should actually think about and consider. And, of course, there's always going to be power is going to, affect different people's power. It's going to affect economics. There's a lot of things that go on. And if you introduce robot wives, now, of course, there'll be some rich people who get it first because they're rich. Just is what it is. So when stuff come out, it's a little more expensive on a regular basis, and rich people will get it first. They get that quote unquote privilege for being rich. Is what it is. Is what it is. Now, how they adjust to it should probably be very interesting because if you're rich, you're probably gonna be married. Rich people you normally get married. Now, it may be a little different amongst the black community because I've said a few years ago, which I expect to be true. There's gonna be some black men getting rich and not getting married. Yeah, I know it's gonna be hard for people to believe, or they definitely might hold it off for a good while. Michael B. Jordan, a hot guy in Hollywood right now, Oscar winner. He 39 years old, if my memory is correct, still not married. He got a bag. He done finally moved at his parents' house. He got a decent career going on, but still not married. And I think we're gonna see a lot of that happening. A lot of that. So now I'm gonna say this: robot wives will be introduced. Okay, you may have some rich people get it first, but eventually the price will get down low enough where average folks will start to get them. I'm thinking $500. Do you not get a robot wife? I'm trying to be reasonable. I'm pretty sure they may be, and they may even come with some type of maintenance fee. A subscription. To take care of your software, fix whatever problems you have if a problem were to arise. Okay, maybe let's do 10% of that. Let's say there's a maintenance fee that's $50 a month. That I think that's pretty high. But when you think about a robot wife, would you be willing to pay $500 down and $50 a month to have an extra robot that can handle different things for you? Now, is that going to make sense? Yes, I do believe at that point it would make financial sense. Okay. Who wouldn't want a robot working for them 24 hours a day? Now, I get it. There's going to be people at companies and things like that. And, people going to not get hired. And, there's going to be some impact out there because robots will be used on the job more and more. And by the time they get down to $500 for the robot you can take home with you, you get your subscription service where you pay $50 a month. If the robot is damaged, they come out and repair it for you. When new software comes up, they download it. Now, again, back in the day, y'all, people would say this is wacko stuff. I don't think it is now. I just don't think it is. So now, you get a robot, okay? Now, some people may say, well, Roger, why are you saying robot wives? Let's also be realistic. Who they going to sell this to? If you have robots that can do a lot of stuff that humans can do, who are you going to sell it to? Because I'm going to say realistically, the people who are going to have the money and the want to go out and buy this thing, more than likely are going to be men. Okay? Some women may want one, but are they going to pony up to get the one? You talking about something that's $500, maybe around $50 a month of a subscription fee to take care of your software and any damage that happens with the robot? Okay? Who going to buy this thing? Well, you're probably going to want to sell it to men. Now, what is she going to look like? Now, I put the clip in from Subservient. It was a good movie, y'all. What did they do? They had a very attractive robot. Okay? The wife was like, whoa. Why'd you get that one? The dude in the movie said, hey, our daughter picked that one out. Now, I ain't pick it. Our daughter picked it. He was staying safe. All right, so what's going to happen when these robots are for sale? Well, with sales, there's going to be competition. So now what you have to do, you got to make a better looking robot to get guys to buy the robot. And if you want somebody to spend $50 a month on your subscription service, to take care of whatever goes on with the robot, you probably want to make a nice looking robot. Now I'm pretty sure you'll have large amounts of the same looking robots, but they'll give you, they'll give you some choices. I'm sure they'll pick out some attractive women model possibly after those particular attractive women. The women may get a contract for being a face of a robot. Not the face of a company, but a face of a robot, possibly. All right. So she'll be straight. Maybe she get on because she can afford a robot at that particular point. But y'all, average folks, what are they going to do? Now, if you have a wife, and for a lot of homes, when this thing comes, there'll be, for some folks, you'll have a wife and husband are both working. Now, I don't know if you'd be able to program a robot to do your wife's job. I don't even know if that would be smart to do because, of course, the big companies are going to be looking to shrink what they spend in money anyway. If you program some robot to do your job, they will program a robot to do that same job as well. And then your job would be eliminated that much faster. Because remember, that's going to be on the rise anyway. That's going to be on the horizon. They're going to be looking for ways to save money, which means they're going to get some robots and train them on how to do people's jobs. It's just going to be what it's going to be. And a lot of folks going to have to figure something out. Okay. Shout out to Trail Billy. He said Rosie from the Jetsons. Yeah, it'd be like that. But you'll have a cuter version of Rosie. That's for sure. You're going to have a cuter version of Rosie. Now, I'm going to say men will probably hold on to their jobs a little bit longer than women will. Now, that could technically go the other way. Okay. It could. But I think men are going to be more comfortable spending their money on this robot wife. Not that it'll be sold as a wife. It'll be sold as a robot, I'm sure. But they're going to make capabilities for a robot to be able to have sex. If they're making little plastic dolls and molds and all kinds of stuff right now, they're going to sexualize the robot. That's going to happen because people like money. And as they say, sex sells. So, yes, it will become very normal for a guy to have a robot that he's going to have sex with. Now, I do believe when this day comes, there will be some impact on women. Okay. Now, I know people have talked about this and make it sound scary, spooky, or crazy, but I'm looking at stuff realistically as the world turns. Okay. Stuff that, okay, I'll put it to you like this, y'all. We have folks still alive. We got a few folks out there still alive. All right. Born in the 1920s. All right. So, it's 2026 now. If you were born in 1926, you be coming across your 100th birthday, or soon, if not already happened. Now, those people who were born in 1926, they live in a world right now that they could not fathom as a child. Think about the things that have gotten popular between 1926 and 2026. Cars have gotten popular between that time. Okay. Television has gotten popular between that time. Not only did you get television, you ended up getting color TV. Okay. Next thing you know, you got a phone that's in your pocket. Y'all, we got a little computer in our pocket. They saw computers come into existence on the mass level, and they also saw computers go in your pocket. Some of them got some grandkids with a computer in their pocket. There's no telling how different the world is going to be 50 years from now. Shout out to Trail Billy. Hey, in the last 100 years, he is correct. Thong panties have happened in the last 100 years. And as a child in the 20s or the early or the 1920s or the 1930s, you didn't see that coming. You did not see thongs coming. Not only did you not see thongs coming, they had a hit song about the thong. Shout out to Cisco for the thong song. Not only did this crazy idea of a thong even come into existence, they had a hit song about, not a song that just got to the radio. No, a hit song. You know, it was holding it down for a while too. You know, it definitely ran its course when it was on and popping. It was on and popping. But if you was born in 1926 and now you were like a little kid in 1936, you a 10-year-old kid, you ain't see no thong song coming. And you definitely wouldn't have guessed it would have been on TV. And they would have made a video. Because you know what? Videos weren't even out yet. Okay? Videos weren't even out. So a lot of stuff changes over time. Okay? Shout out to Bronx. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate the support. He gives a super chat. He says, a real Botox is already making them. Purchase price for their current Becky bot is $125K. Whoa, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. The monthly subscription is $199. Becky Boy is a game changer. Okay, so they already here. They already here. They ain't 500 yet, but y'all know how it goes. Rich people are able to get them first, and then eventually the market prices become more reasonable, and then regular folk can get it. So he's saying, you know, approximately $125K right now with a $200 subscription. Okay, so we are still a little ways away from the $500 price with a $50 subscription. And I'm not saying those are going to be the exact prices, but y'all know the prices will fall, and eventually the masses will be able to get it. Now, that's crazy work, because if you can train a robot to do a lot of different things, there's a lot of folks' jobs who will be affected by the robots. I mean, you know, conveyor belts have helped put people out of a job. All right. There's a lot of things that help put people out of job. We keep inventing stuff to make humans a little bit more useless from a job capacity. Now, I know people don't really see it that way, but you know, bikes have put people out of job. You know, you got flatbeds that's helping people get put out of job, because you know you got one guy doing something it took 3 guys to do. All right, move this box over here. Well, it used to take 3 guys, now it take 1. Just get it on the flatbed and keep it moving. Okay, so a lot of things will affect us. All right. 125K is steep right now. But there will be some method to the madness with some people's math about what they can, how much money they can make off a robot. So for some folks, it's a very good investment. That's all it really is. Just a very good investment. Now, y'all think about this. We get to the world, the robot is only $500 a month. Now, unless something happens, you know, I believe this will happen in less than 50 years. I also believe you have a good group of people that's not going to be married. Okay, the marriage rate is going to really plummet after the baby boomers. Once they're gone, that thing gonna plummet. It might be around 7% of folks who actually get married. All right, that thing gonna plummet. Now, this is the thing. It would not be looked on as weird to have a robot. And once people get a robot, what are people going to do with it? They're going to sexualize it. Now, I know this may sound crazy to people, but look at history, y'all. What don't humans sexualize? Television got sexualized. Videos got sexualized. Games got sexualized. They say in advertising on a regular basis, sex sells. So how do I expect people to put out a robot that the masses of people can afford, but they're not going to sexualize the robot? To me, that's like an insane thought at this point. They're going to sexualize it, and there's going to be people who are going to start having sex with it. And they're going to tell other people they had sex with the robot. And they're going to ask, well, what did you have to do? How did you have to clean it? What happened after the fact? And they're going to tell whatever the story is. Then it ain't going to be that big a deal. Plus, people say you're nasty, but when it's yours, it ain't quite as nasty. Okay? It's one thing to clean up your bodily fluids from somebody else. It's another thing when it's your own. So I'm just thinking about how humans work, y'all. This is going to be a real thing. I know it can sound like a joke still to this day, but no, this is going to be a real thing. And I think a lot of us here are going to be old enough we're going to be still around to see it. Okay? We're going to see it. Okay? Shout out to Trust. She says, hashtag old bodies. Well, I think that old thing gonna get some new things. And after a few tricks and tips, once they really put some money behind the science of making it work right, it's gonna be something. And I'm gonna tell you, a man can go out and look for a woman. He can look for somebody that's beautiful. He can look for somebody that's smart. He can look for somebody that's nurturing. He can look for someone who's empathetic. He can look for a lot of things. But if people keep going in the direction they're going, he ain't going to really find that. But you will be able to program her to be that way. Okay? Whoever the her is, you better program her to be that way. And that's just real talk. Okay? Shout out to Bruce on Wayne. He said, read my message, Roger. Hashtag all my hoes demonetized. Okay, let me see what you said. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. I know, some messages you can't put in the super chats. I do know that. He says the T20. This must be a Series 8 upgrade because, there was a T800. I remember that. I remember the T1000. He got the T2300. So they've been upgrading like a mug to get to the T2300. He said self-tightening and vibrating coochie. Can't say no. Keep them nuts coming all day. Now, this brother makes a few jokes from time to time. But I'm going to say realistically, they going to figure that out. What he just said right there, they going to figure that out. I don't know how they going to figure it out. I don't know how they going to make it work, but they going to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, y'all. Real talk. They're going to figure that out. Okay? So at some point in time, now I ain't going to say it's going to be a T2300, but at some point in time, they going to have a vibrating coochie. Okay? It's going to be self-tightening too. I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to figure it out. That's just real talk. You're going to have people that's going to work on stuff like that for 8 hours a day. They're going to figure it out. So now you have men going out into the world. You get a job. Why? A job is still able to be got. All right. Now, again, they're making robots, so jobs will start to be replaced. We know over time jobs get replaced with electronics of some kind. But now that you got robots, boy, could that affect the job market. So now you're going to have some folks who know they're going to get fired. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to take that last little severance package. They're going to buy them a robot. Maybe they get a $3,000 severance package. Not even that much. Let me take this $3,000 and buy me a robot. I just got to come up with a way to come up with $50 a month to pay that subscription fee. I got to do what I got to do. Now, this is the thing. When the men have robots available to them, will women be important? Because as they're working on these robots, they're also going to be working on these artificial wombs y'all have heard about. Okay. They're going to be working on a way to make sure people can have children without necessarily dealing with the opposite sex. See, all this will happen unless Jesus come back first. Now, Jesus could come back first. I don't know when he's coming back. He didn't tell us the schedule. Okay. He said you can look for these signs, but that's it. He ain't going to tell us when he's coming back. So unless he come back, y'all, this is down the pipe. Okay. It may sound crazy, but this is actually coming down the pipe. Shout out to the Great Black Reset. He says correct. JF1000, J to fire. All right. It's gonna be the JF1000, huh? Not the T2300, but the JF1000. Sound like an interesting version of a robot. That's all I'm saying. Sound like a very interesting version of a robot. So now you get out here, you done got fired, they done gave you $3,000 to go away. Man, let me put 500 on this robot and figure out how to use this robot to make me some money too. So I can keep up with the subscription fee and other things going on in my life. People gonna get real inventive, y'all. People gonna get real inventive. So now you're gonna have men who are going to start having sex with the robot. And know what you don't have to do with the robot? You don't have to ask a robot out. I do understand that a lot of younger men, they've been taught to act more like women. Hopefully they're gonna break out of it as they get older and get in the world of men. But I gotta be realistic. Young men are being taught to act like women. So some of them are afraid of rejection. Early ages, probably early adult age, some of them are still probably afraid of rejection. They're probably terrified of rejection. Y'all know what that robot not gonna do? That robot not gonna reject them. So now, as you as the larger society keep telling men to be afraid of women, and they're not gonna come up on women the way we used to back in the day. You see something, you go get something. That's how we used to do it. But younger men ain't necessarily doing it the way they used to anymore. Now, I got to think about this. A guy who's born in 2026, or the guy who's 5 years old in 2026, he going to grow up with these women talking about, don't bother me, don't touch me, because that's a very big thing. Now, I do know there's some women who going to try to fight against it right now. But this the world this little kid going to grow up in. He ain't gonna be bothered with women like that, because he gonna be worried about going to jail. I heard somebody say that once, man. You don't talk to no woman on no cold approach. You gonna end up in jail. They literally said that. You gonna end up in jail. Guess what? Well, that guy, he ain't gonna talk to him. He just gonna go get a robot, because the robot not gonna reject him, and he gonna make it work with that robot. He may not be like Great Black Reset and be able to get two of them, but he gonna get one of them that's down for him. And I'm pretty sure loyalty to you is going to be a very easy program for that robot to understand. Now, shout out to. Wait a minute, is this the nameless protagonist? I believe this is the nameless protagonist. Shout out to you. He says, filling in healthcare gaps for aging populations will introduce artificial companions first. Bigger problems will absolutely dwarf robot wife stigma. And I believe that's 100% correct, because people are going to be using these robot wives for all kinds of different things. Some going to even babysit people's children. It may sound crazy, but they're going to even babysit people's children. So yes, the robots would be infused in different parts of society. They may be sold as robot wives, but they'll have all types of other things. If you're a correctional officer, you eventually will have robot wives at prisons, making sure the people stay in. They're not going to necessarily need you to do that anymore. So things are going to morph, and the economy is going to, things are going to morph, I meant to say, and the economy is going to morph as well, because there will be new solutions provided. And how does science work with humans? When you provide new solutions, you create new problems. So they're going to fix all this stuff. They're going to figure all this stuff out eventually. Okay? They're going to figure all this stuff out. Now, if you haven't already positioned yourself for your family to be rich, your family might just be screwed down the line. Just is what it is. Because people who are able to get a lot of money and power ain't necessarily looking to share it. Okay? At least not all of them. Okay? So now, guys are going to be having sex with these robot wives, because I could ask this girl to the dance. See, now, think about the guys growing up in this world, y'all. I grow up, I'm 13, 14 years old, maybe 15 years old. There's a school dance. I asked the girl to go to the school dance. But the girls are going to be worse, because they're going to be being raised by a lot of single mothers. Let's just keep that real. That number's going to grow for a while unless something significant happens. So now you got more children that's raised by single mothers. So now the little kid who go ask, he's 14 years old, he a freshman in high school. He asks a girl out to the school dance. She wants to nuclear reject him. How many of those rejections he gonna get before he just say, "I'll wait till I can get a robot"? Think about that, y'all. I'll just wait till I can get a robot. Now you got guys who are already well established. You're gonna have guys with actual wives. They're gonna have some real money, live in some nice mansions or mini mansions. Attractive, beautiful woman. You know what that woman's gonna do to her at some point? What do to him at some point? She's going to reject him when he's trying to have sex with his woman, when he's trying to have sex with his girlfriend, his fiance, or his wife. She's going to reject him. You know what he gonna do? He gonna play around with some thoughts in his head. Next thing you know, he banging this electronic thing on a regular basis. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, that's what's gonna happen. Shout out to Ejan Bay. He says, "Damn, how we get here?" Hashtag long little official line steppers. You know what? We got here because of electronics, and you add that with women's attitude. You add that with women copying things that they see, so they're going to get worse over time without something significant happening. Next thing you know, you're going to have boys raised up in the world where they're going to see these electronic women on a regular basis. And rather than being bothered with rejection, a nuclear level rejection too, because they get worse over time when it comes to a lot of young ladies, he's just going to say, "I'll wait till I can get the robot." And next thing you know, we here for real. Okay, then we here for real. Shout out to the nameless protagonist. He says, "Reminder, female wanding devices." Oh, Lord. Female wanding, y'all know what he means by wanding. Female wanding devices hit the market first through the medical community. There is a precedence for this pattern, which is pretty hilarious. Now, I'm going to say that's a very interesting fact to be reminded of. Very interesting fact to be reminded of. And I'm going to say the women are going to shame the men for getting these robots. It's going to happen, y'all, because the women are going to look at a sexual robot. Not that sex will be its primary purpose, but they're able to have sex with the robot. So what are they going to do? They got to try to get you from not exploring that dimension. But humans sexualize everything. And I'm not saying, well, I'm not gonna say everything, but I'm pretty sure it's some humans sexualizing everything out there. It ain't normal for every single human to sexualize everything, but some humans going to sexualize. All right, let's keep it real. So now you grow up in the world where the women are acting harsh towards you. You'll probably see this with girls, even when you're a boy. When you are able to come up with some type of job so you can actually have an income, because keep in mind, you're competing with all these robots out here. But if you're able to secure some type of job, you going to get a woman who's bothering you on a regular basis? Or you just going to go get a robot? The robot who's willing to have sex with you anytime you want. The robot that's willing to cook for you anytime you're hungry. The robot that doesn't complain about the friends you hang out with. The robot that doesn't say you came home too late. The robot who acts like it's happy to see you every time you walk in the door. Now you got regular women, and then you got robots. Now I'm going to be realistic. I believe at a point like this, because I know how niggas act, they're going to try to make a real woman a status symbol. But the thing is, most guys ain't going to want the status symbol because I can get the robot who treats me way better than the real version. So there's going to be somebody saying, well, I'm better than you because I can get a real one. But you're going to be arguing with a man with a robot who takes care of every need and desire he wants. That is not a good competition. Somebody is a real loser. I think it's going to take the loser a little while to figure out who the loser actually is. But we got a few guests coming up, so I'm going to go ahead and let them get the mic. The elder privilege is going to be extended to Black Uru, so he will go first. Then we will double back to the Great Black Reset. Elder, you have the floor.
Hey, you know what? Thanks for having me, Roger. I hope you and Reset and the folks in the public chat are doing well. Reset is a bit of a technophile. I think I kind of want to hear his opinion about this before I express an opinion, because I got short-term views about this, long-term views, futuristic views, or whatever, and I think I might start to kind of spin into some different directions. So I'm going to defer to Reset for now, and then I'll chime in, I guess, after I've maybe gotten his perspective a little bit.
Thank you, Black Uru. I normally would not and refuse to go before Black Uru, but I will take this opportunity to share some information with you guys. Can you guys hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you, and I couldn't hear at first. So since I got back, and I guess Black Uru let you have the mic first. That's what I'm thinking must have just happened.
Yeah. He did.
Okay, well, let me get in here real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, Black Uru. That's fine. It's your privilege. You can do what you want with it. Shout out to Detroit 313. He said, "Man, the Terminator women is better. Just saying, tax." Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you, my brother. Also, shout out to Bruce On Wayne. He said, "No means no. Not to my T2300." Now, Bruce On Wayne is making a point because, she not gonna say no, and that's just that simple. At the end of the day, you got to program that in her to get her to say no. So yeah, it's gonna happen, y'all. It's gonna happen. And again, I do believe some guys, because of ego, are gonna try to put a real woman in some type of status position. But how's that gonna work against the masses of men? I just don't think that's going to be workable. But go ahead, Great Black Reset. You got it, my brother.
Okay, I normally would not, and I would refuse to go before Black Uru, but I think he's correct in this. And I'm gonna share some information real quick to set things up for him. So, as of 2026, we're no longer asking if robot companions are coming. We are watching them arrive. The year is widely being called the breakout year for physical AI, marking the transition from lab prototypes to actual consumer products you can pre-order and see in pilot programs. Here's the landscape of how close we are to having them in our daily lives. One, the home humanoid, the big step. 2026 is the year of the first wave of human-sized general purpose robots is actually hitting living rooms. The 1X Neo, this is currently the front runner for the domestic humanoid. It's designed specifically for home use. It's lightweight, soft to the touch, for safety, as they say, and can handle chores like clearing a table and folding laundry. Then we have the Tesla Optimus Gen 3. You know, you Tesla ain't gonna let you leave them out. While still heavily focused on factory work, Tesla has accelerated its timeline. We are seeing more demonstrations of its home capabilities through a mass market consumer version is still likely a year or two away from being in every driveway. The Figure O3, the model has moved beyond just walking. It's now being tested in homes to see how to navigate the chaos of real household environments, such as pets, messy floors, and so on. Specialized companion. This is where it gets good. If you don't need a robot to do the dishes but want a companion, the technology is already here and relatively affordable. The elderly care, or LQ, these sidekick robots are already widely used in combat loneliness in seniors. They don't have bodies that move around, but they initiate conversations, reminders of health routines, and provide proactive companionship. These robots, they program the LLM to respond to you and all this other kind of stuff. So this is what goes into the androids. Social emotional learning, the Moxie. For families, robots like Moxie are currently being used to help children develop skills, social skills throughout AI-driven and empathetic dialogue. So all of these things that you have, like your Alexis in the house and stuff like that, they save all that data from you interacting with the robots, and they use that stuff to program the androids. Desk companions, small personalized driven robots, are becoming common fidget companions for home offices, acting more like digital pets in distinct moods. Then we get to three, and this is the last piece. What's still far off? Um, while we have the hardware, two major hurdles remain before these are as coming as smartphones. The price wall, most fully capable humanoid companions currently cost between 5,000 and 20,000 until the drops to the price of a high-end laptop or a used car, they will remain luxury items. The reasoning gap, while a robot can see a shirt, the fine motor skills required to fold it while adapting to different fabrics and wrinkles, it's still a massive computational challenge. They are smart, but they aren't yet intuitive. Now, having said that, China has robots that they are making for companion purposes. They are far ahead of us. I'm here to tell you, with the language learning models, the training, all the information they're getting from the stuff you already using at home, the information they're saving from your phone usage and all these other type of things, everything's sexualized. When you go on these triple X sites and all this other kind of stuff, all of that stuff is being saved. All of your information is being saved. All of the things you choose is being saved. That stuff is being programmed into your companion robots. It's gonna show up for the elderly first, because if it's tender enough to take care of your elderly, it can take care of everybody else. It's going to be normalized for you to get grandpa a robot for 20 grand. You put a $5,000 down and you pay for the use of this robot. This is going to come soon. You're going to see it in the military. These are going to be the military personnel that are taking care of certain tasks for guys out in the field. All of a sudden, they ain't gonna need as many women in the military anymore. All of a sudden, they're not gonna need as many nurses anymore and things like that. And then you're gonna have your $10,000, $15,000 robot for your home companionship to do what you will, and you'll be able to customize it in the way that you want. And I'll land my plane there.
Okay, I was just gonna start saying, wrap it up.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I had to read that so you guys can see what's really out there, but this is common stuff. The human assistants are there you can pre-order them now. The elderly companions are already widely available. The educational stuff is available, and the industrial stuff is common. It's everywhere, and that's it.
So you just gonna keep going?
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay, well, let's give it back to Black Guru, who let you go first. That's correct, right? He let you go first. So let's give it back to him.
Well, no, I really appreciate. I mean, I know you have your time limit, and it's a good one, but I do think that depth of information is valuable, because it takes this out of just kind of speculation and sort of futuristic, what might appear on a Netflix movie or whatever, and really puts in context where we're actually headed, and where we are, and how close we are to where we're headed. So as we talk about these things and debate these things, because there's going to be a lot of debate about what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, to what degree it's going to happen, before we even get to our feelings about it. And I do think, for men generally, Black men in particular, I do think it's going to be important that you understand this stuff, because sadly, better or worse, bitter or sweet, this is happening largely because of, sadly, what we often talk about in this environment, that the men want to be sexually liberated from these women, which seems weird to even say. We tend to think about sexual liberation in terms of women sexually liberating themselves from men. But what has happened is that a trap has evolved the better part of the last 60 years about utilizing the sexuality, sexual desire, the virility of men against them. And this presents an alternative to that that's going to present a lot of other issues, a lot of other problems, particularly core of what we are as human beings, sort of issues and questions. So I think in the short term is a good thing. I think in the long term it's probably going to be a bad thing, but I think it's going to provoke ultimately that we do have a greater appreciation for humanity. Sadly, most of us won't be alive. Probably none of us will be alive when we reach that final stage, sadly.
Okay. Bronk made it in next, so we're gonna get Bronk in, then we're gonna get Turnaround in the building. So go ahead, Bronk, you got it. And wait a minute, real quick. Shout out to Serious Rock. He say you will be forced to take a fat robot wife. I'm asking for Raj. Hey man, ain't that many taxes in the world? We're gonna have enough other problems. If I ain't gonna take a fat real person, I'm definitely not taking a fat fake person. Just to let you know. But go ahead, bro.
What up, Roger? What up, chat? What up, panel? Man, um, Reset. That was the longest 2 minutes I've sat through in my life, man.
Hey
But I
man, it
Real
was the
talk,
appreciate
greatest.
that.
real
It
talk,
was
real talk.
greatest 2 minutes you ever heard on the Roger Report Live. Don't do that.
Hey, hey, but I appreciate the framing of it because yeah, that does kind of allude to the fact that it's not a what if. We're already here. I was
But
telling you
yo,
about.
real quick, just for timing issues. Shout out to Landon. He said Cyberpunk Coochie 2077. And 2077 ain't that far away, y'all. It really ain't that far away. All right, go ahead. Sorry about that.
But no, you're good. The company that I mentioned, Realbotics, they literally started in 1998. So this is not a young company. This is a company that's been around nearly 30 years now. They actually are on the Toronto Stock Exchange, trading for 31 cents a share right now, and they have a capital structure. Now, full disclosure, this is not investment advice or any solicitation or advertisement to that effect. But I use that information just to give you a picture of the fact that we're already here. If you want to publicly invest in these robotics companies that are making these woman robots or whatnot, you can do that right now as we speak. $125,000 for their premium model, which is the F series. And this thing, it says on their website, has uh, quote unquote 44 degrees of freedom, allowing it to have several simultaneously moving parts for a wide variety of interactions that feel human like. Now, that's a very professional way to say what they're saying. Very professional way to say what they're saying. So if I'm a man living in a day and age where you're dealing with constant rejection from women, constant attitude, constant uncooperation, well, for $125,000, I can essentially become partner with the company that's trying to solve all my problems for that amount. So what's cheaper? Do I save up money, get my credit right to be able to afford this $125,000 buy, or do I go through the headache of essentially draining millions of dollars of my resources to try to maintain an uncooperative one? Now land my plane there.
All right. Appreciate it. Now, we got an Ivy Leaguer who done stepped in. So we're gonna get him the mic and then we'll double back to Turner Runner. And we also got Jerome in the bot has joined us as well. So Computer Love, you got the flow, then Turn Around, then Jerome in the bot.
Oh no, Run for the Border can go first. It's okay.
All right, well, Turn Around, go ahead.
All right. I was going to say sometimes when my wife is acting like a robot, it's some of the best times. When she disagrees with me and said, "We'll see how a robot can take over." When somebody is just letting you lead and will follow behind you, that's some good. Those are some good times, especially for me.
That's gonna be a
And I
real
land right there.
comparison. It's gonna be a real comparison. All right, shout out to Yogami, and I appreciate the 57-cent Trail Bentley tax. He said androids before, now coming the guy nose and dinosaurs. You gonna be a sick man if you order a nose. I'm gonna just say that's gonna be a sick brother who ordered nose models. Shout out to Bruce Owen Wayne. He said, Roger, read my message. Hashtag Desaling lives on. Okay, let's see what he put real quick. Look, when you do this, man, you gotta let me know. Are you gonna start putting these messages before or after, so I ain't gotta spend a lot of time looking for something? Okay. Because now I don't see what messages. No. Did I skip past it? Bro, I'll come back to it. Give me 1 second. Let me honor this other super chat real quick. Shout out to Jerome Payne. He said, just wait till the feminist protest for robot rights. Now that would be one of the stupidest things that humans ever decided to do. But because humans do a lot of crazy stuff, I won't even say that people won't even do that at some particular point in time. That would actually make some level of sense.
Their argument is going to be that it encourages sex crime and predatory behavior amongst men in particular. They're already doing it. It's already out there. They're already making these arguments out there, and it would not at all surprise me that there are bills pending at the state level on this very issue, and there's some sort of domestic violence things against artificial humans or whatever. They'll come up with some clever way to sort of humanize these devices, but it's going to be a real issue. It's not nothing to be flippant about at all, because they're already having these arguments now.
Yeah. Now, and Bruce Owen Wayne, I'm gonna say, man, put your message there again, because you said read my message, Roger, but I don't see your message forward, and I don't see it coming after. So put your message again so I can read it, my brother. Put your message again so I can read it. I know sometimes we use words and you can't put them in the super chat, so I do get that, but do it again so I can read it, brother, because I'm not seeing it. Okay. I don't know. Maybe the system didn't even allow you to put it in the regular chat, but I'm not seeing it. All right.
After everybody has their 2 or 3 minutes, depending on their level, I have a couple of things I want to say, because it's not going to be what people think it is. It's not going to be the issue that people think it is. But go ahead.
All right.
Hey, Roger, one thing. I might have an advanced model because she's not disagreeing with me at all. So maybe I just have a advanced model, and I don't even know. Maybe my father brought me a beautiful gift. But okay, I'll let everybody else go.
Well, they're gonna start pattern ones after the wife. I get you, bro. They're gonna pattern after. But let's let I believe brother Computer Love get in here. You got the mic, and we'll get the nameless protagonist and right after, as he honors us with his presence. Go ahead, Computer Love.
Well, let Nameless go before I stink up the joint.
All right, you heard it, Nameless. Go ahead.
Gonna be some smoke in the city.
To the chat and the instructors on the panel. Os. I'm going to link you guys something in the chat. I want to link a few things actually, but I'm gonna start with this. Let me grab the link here. This is this person's actual website So you can see the first order resistance and conversation that this has been having for quite some time now. I don't know if I got an opportunity to speak to you guys openly about this idea of cyber feminism. Does that sound like a familiar topic to anybody up here right now?
I didn't hear about this.
I expect
like I say, I've heard of this. I've heard of this. Yes.
I'm gonna send you guys a link in the back chat, and I don't want to derail the conversation with this, but I want to make you guys aware that this has been in the works since 1985, as far as predicting this model and understanding that a lot of this started happening as soon as the internet became available to most people. So the moment people got access to the internet, they started projecting a lot of these arguments as it relates to the female image and finding ways of not just regulating that, but by making the statement that it harms women for people to view technology in a feminine articulation or feminine gradient. And their arguments begin all the way back with some observations that were done back in World War I and II, or rather post World War II, getting into weapon systems applications. A lot of these robotic systems that would have voice prompts, the Army was already doing researching and knowing that female voices or voices that are on the female spectrum lower cortisol levels and improve combat performance. So research like this coming out was seen as a basis for feminists to come out and start making arguments against putting that out in the market from the get-go. So you already know that when it comes to the sexual liberation piece, it was never intended for that to be a male modality being included in that, nor did that align with state interests as it relates to being able to provide taxation onto men. And as we're seeing now with the resurgence of the draft, and I think next year you're going to see that, I think men ages 18 to 25 are going to get auto drafted if this goes through, and it looks like it's probably going to.
Yeah.
They've also gone so far as to increase the drafting age to 42, and absolutely nothing's been said on women. And to me, that speaks to, again, the state having a vested interest for men and their role when it comes to maintaining the continuity of government and resource allocation, particularly the human resource piece, which tells me in conjunction with this, what we're likely going to see is a resurgence of this idea of singlehood tax. And I'm digressing slightly, but I want all of these things to be brought into the bigger picture because I think they correlate with one another. I think we may see the inevitable ebb and flow of this introduction of the so-called robot wife, but it's going to be a part of a much larger apparatus that is going to create the environment for these things to make more sense. But I don't think they manifest independently. I think they come with other legislative suggestions, such as the introduction of things like what people have called bachelor taxes, although they're probably just going to be targeted to individuals that aren't a part of the system as far as we're going to call it the welfare state system, and those that are still considered single or non-paired, along with changing the definition of what it means to be paired with somebody. So I just wanted to introduce this whole package so that, you know, number one, there's already pushback on this. That is 100% confirmed. There's no speculation. Number two, there's a lot of left and right orientation as it relates to this. And surprisingly, it's people who are more centrist and looking at ways of capitalizing and solving emergent infrastructure problems that are more so behind funding this and not really adhering to the resistance to it as they could. And lastly, this likely isn't going to come on its own as it relates to just being an artificial companion. I think we're going to have this be part of a set of solutions to include and not be limited to a singles tax or a bachelor's tax, asymmetrically targeted towards single men.
All right.
What Nameless is saying that this solution we foresee, for one thing, is gonna possibly prove to be a Pyrrhic victory for us, where the cost of this might exceed the actual return on investment. That they're going to impute in this a lot of other things that are not necessarily as going to be as beneficial for men as simply being able to get off at our easiest convenience.
In the
I think
overall grand scheme, this is going to be horrible for humanity, but it's going to take humanity a while to figure it out.
I think two things. I think one, women don't want to be regulated out of society, and two, that was a very long way of saying the black market for sex robots is going to be very robust.
Okay. Now we got to get computer love in the building. So computer love, are you ready now?
Yeah, can somebody mute up? Somebody has really bad feedback. All right, thank you. Shout out to you, Roger. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to the people in the chat. Nameless, welcome. I didn't know you were into the kinky shit, but welcome. So first,
This man.
in 1985, I can't welcome you. I'm sorry.
Can't be smart around this piece.
Well, I can't even welcome niggas. God dang. I apologize for welcoming you. In 1985, Charlie Wilson, Shirley Murdoch, and Roger Troutman told us something that we didn't fully understand. Computer Love, one of the top R&B songs back in '85, and they was telling us back then that these hoes wasn't right back then, and for sure enough, they ain't gonna be right now. So what a nigga gotta do? Get that computer love. And now the good, great people of Asia, and in all their perversionness, has blessed us niggas with something beyond our wildest dreams. From pocket peas to sexual androids. Whatever your kink is, whatever your fantasy is, nigga, step right up, step right up. Because now, no more nagging, no more high blood pressure. Drop your fucking socks in the middle of the floor. She'll pick it up. And Uncle Sam wants to give you a bachelor's tax. Well, that hoe is worth it because, hey, it's better than family court where you, with in TMI words, your ass get graduated. Full autonomy in a relationship. Full control in a relationship, gentlemen. They're not even offering submission. They're giving obedience. Let me say that shit one more time. They're not even offering submission. Nigga, you getting obedience. So whatever Uncle Sam wants to do with that bachelor's tax, whatever these fem hoes try to do in legislation, stand up for your rights. Because in 2026, dicks are free hoes. You hear me, hoes? Dicks are free. You're no longer going to chain us up. I'll pass the mic on that.
I love this nigga today. I love this nigga today. I don't know if I'm sick, I got the flu, or whatever, but I agree with every word he just said.
Yeah,
Every word.
y'all still on that high from yesterday, man. Come down that high. Come off that high.
You see, this is a slave right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is a slave. He wants his dick wrapped up in condoms, be taxed by child support, and be nagged by some hoe going to get sex half the time. He's still on the plantation, guys.
Man,
Man,
that was a great opening statement, man. It really was. Very eloquent, very well spoken. And I think you hit on a lot of great points and really just kind of open up a different perspective on how to look at this, what that look like for the public sector, government sector, legislatively. I think that's definitely something we all need to ask ourselves as this entering into the society. But one of my biggest concerns essentially is if we're going to essentially trust the production of AI robots that we can have sex with and bring that to the market, then there's going to have to be a serious discussion about women in computer programming.
Well, I'm gonna say the reality is
Roger,
when
when
they
you're done, I'm gonna say something. So I want to respond to some of this. Go ahead.
okay, once they get robots to where it can go to the mass, because it's gonna be about when it goes to the masses. All right. Yeah, it will. You'll get sexual liberation of men. That's a good term. It's interesting to know, as men did so much to give women their sexual liberation, that the women are already in the back trying to make sure men can't have sexual liberation. That's just an interesting thing to know, that they're fighting that hard for the exact opposite for men. Not surprising, but interesting. And I'm going to say, yes, these things will eliminate women being needed in the workforce first. There will be a time period where they're going to still use men in the workforce. Then eventually the men will be eliminated from the workforce. So it's going to get interesting no matter what. And so regardless, the overall it's going to be terrible for humans, but men will have a lot of fun before that happens. Go ahead.
One thing I
want
want
to say something real quick to that. What is that? Post labor economy is already being talked about and discussed. That's going to happen no matter what. So even without robots, post labor economy is almost here.
Okay, so a few things I want to say to this. I think it's important to understand that as we move into 6G and potentially 7G Wi-Fi models, we're talking about high fidelity data being able to be transmitted instantly. And along with that, the augmented reality spectrum and other forms of artificial intelligence and VR are likely going to be integrated with a lot of this technology we're talking about soon. So what that means is we're not just talking about the so-called bot. We're talking about being able to enter into a VR sort of scenario with the robot and have an augmented reality experience for whatever purposes. There's people already having prototypes run with this with the MMORPG genre, which is now being nicknamed the VR MMORPG, and other simulation technology that's being done by the military right now as we speak. We also have the prosthetic field that this is already entering in, and people are using these things as prosthetic extensions to overcome injuries. So the natural result of that is a lot of these technologies being implemented along with the robot. And now you've got a full spectrum physical and mental experience that goes beyond just the physical friction. So the point I wanted to highlight here is I don't see how that doesn't eventually lead into a subscription model. And with the subscription model, the governor being a lot of the same thing we're finding is happening with newer cars. If you take a look at what's happening with a lot of these newer cars and the AI and the computer systems that are connected to a lot of these cars, there's concepts like kill switches that are being put in, depending on what state you're in, as a mandatory feature in order to actually operate the vehicle. So now if you're using the vehicle and I won't get into how all the different services have been sort of commodified and subscription based. You know, they got memes running around where people got to run a subscription to get a second seat in the car. Like, is that micromanaged and hyper micro transactioned out? I don't see how that won't eventually apply to any sort of companion AI or companion robot or physical modality. And I think that's going to be put in place for that purpose, to place a governor on a lot of these things, because I don't think the masses will be responsible for making these things, at least not in the very beginning. So when unless and until they become as common as getting access to a regular computer, there's definitely a regulatory period I see happening that is really going to put a governor on a lot of these things.
No, I doubt that. You can still export from, you can still import from Asia, and they don't do subscription like y'all do in the U.S. So you can
I'm not
holler at
saying
people.
there's not a way around it. I'm only saying that's the standard, the thesis to which everyone then has to respond to. And I don't have faith in people to, for example, most people who have cars here now, they're not going for an export to bypass that if they have it. They're trying to leave the state. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
The,
that's different though between car and PC.
Where he's saying, like, where he's describing is, you right now you can, just for like us business people, whatever, you can't own an Adobe program. You
Yeah, I
can't
understand that.
own
Like
an
people own
Office suite.
Windows like back in the day.
So
you guys,
eventually there will be efforts made to rent seek on this technology. That's inevitable. Now, the extent to which you can usurp it by some foreign means, I mean, obviously the more clever of us and the more ambitious of us will be able to utilize those tools, but that won't be
Well,
the majority of Americans, certainly.
no, but the reason why I kind of disagree with the subscription, because the people who are at the forefront of this technology, the people who are at the forefront of the mechanics of this, are China and Japan. So China, Japan. So it's going to just be OEM, right? It's just going to be white label factory. They're going to be exported to the U.S. and then people just going to put their brand names on it. But but like as far as like those open software and stuff like that, it would be too hard. It would be too hard to do that.
No, listen, let me be clear on what I'm trying to say here because I don't want
No,
to
I
go
get
too
what you're
far off in
saying.
the wood.
I do what you're saying. I just don't agree with it. I
I
understand what you're saying. I
I
just
don't
don't
know
agree.
how I don't know fam, like you can't okay. Like if I want to use Gemini, for example, which is an AI system, I can get access to it on a baseline level for free. But if I want to have more features, if I want to go more in depth, if I want to get more
I
access to the
understand
true
what you're
technology,
saying.
there's a tiered system there. Yeah.
I
So I
understand
don't
what you're saying, but
right.
I can go to DeepSeek and get all of that for fucking free,
And
right?
I'm not making that denial. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you here. That's a given, but I guarantee you, most people are not using DeepSeek. They're not.
Because they don't want
They're
to.
not.
Okay, but
They don't
that's
even
not
know
our
what that
point.
is.
That's not the
Yeah,
point
Most
I'm making.
people
You're
don't
making
even
the
know what
point
that
I'm not
is.
right. Right.
It's
So
Yeah.
okay. I just disagree.
there's
But it
nothing to
don't mean I
disagree.
don't understand what you're saying. I just don't agree with it. That's all.
Okay.
the
All
first,
right.
let me,
Shout out to Serious Ron. He said robots is going to make wives think twice before denying sex in marriage. Husband will dust off the robot in the closet. No, this I'm gonna say that won't happen because she won't be a wife in the first place. Once this goes to the masses, you're gonna have people growing up with this stuff. Women won't be important. It just won't because it won't be normal for a woman to be important. If you don't grow up thinking a woman is important, where are you going to get the idea that a woman's important when you talk to them and they give you problems, and then you could just go get it somewhere else? You're not going to pay attention to women. And this is something people gonna have to maybe they don't accept, but the population will get a lot smaller because a lot of people won't even pay attention to women. They're just
I
not going to
think
be important.
I,
I think women will be important to the extent that they have relationships with the proper man. The daughter of the valuable man will be a marketable commodity to men. So the women
I,
will be valuable, but they'll be valuable by way of their network, the potential network capability to other valuable men.
I would say this. This is what I see as far as relationships and stuff like that. You're always going to have your certain group of people that's going to be the outliers, that's going to be the anarchists, that's going to be the rebellers, right? You're going to have a group of people that's going to be Luddites, anti technology, we're not gonna date robots, we're not gonna do whatever, right? Because 3 generations from now, we're going to be in a post-labor market, post-labor economics, where you don't trade your time for money anymore, right? And that's coming soon. So 3 generations from now, like our grandchildren, for sure, will not know how to interact with people. They'll feel much more comfortable around machines, right? The population will be less than what it is now, right? Not a lot of children running around now, even less 3 generations from now, and where interacting with machines is normal. So at the end of the day, I don't even think that people are going to be looking for one another outside of those groups.
You could say that there's a lot of high.
Let me read this real quick. Shout out to Bruce Owen. He said, "Read it, Rod." He put in a message that the system won't allow him to put it. I guess he said, "Bish, I don't need you to do my dishes. I got my T2300. Bish, I don't need your jokes. My T2309 is on 12G. I don't need your jokes." I think he's not meaning jokes, but I think the guys who grow up in this world will actually be more like that, because I know we are what we are right now, but when this goes out to the masses of people, there will be little boys who grow up in a world where this was already in the mass. They're not going to see women the same way. And you know what I'm saying? The changes are going to come faster than what I do believe we think they're going to come.
The only hurdle between what we are talking about and where we are now is lack of energy. That's it. It's all there is. We just don't have the energy to have these things around in mass. That's the only thing stopping it. Now, if the world's powers, the Irans, the Chinas, the Russias, the Americas, the Venezuelans of the world, decide, you know what? We're going to share energy and we're willing to go back to dirty energy to get these robots. We're going to have world peace, man. Everybody going to lay down. Literally.
All right, I got to get the floor to Big Booty Ugandan for everyone, because he ain't had a chance to speak yet. So I'm gonna give it to him. Then I'm gonna go back to Damus because Damus was about to say something. All right, Big Booty Ugandan for everyone.
No. You gotta say the whole thing, bro. See what I'm saying? For everybody. See what I'm saying? Like a pimp name slip back. You gotta say the whole name all together, bro.
It's like a pimp name slip back. My bad. It's like a pimp name slip back. Okay.
Yeah, like a pimp name slip back, bro.
All right, go ahead. Big Booty Uganda for everyone. But for everybody. Because I can't see the last part.
For everybody, bro. For everybody. But I kept saying this, man. In the future, necessarily, right? The world is going to be vastly different. I keep telling people we may want to start investing in getting your CNC machines now. Your I'm saying your creators, all of these things going to be very, very valuable soon, because I think in the world we coming to, you're gonna be able how to create these things. You're literally going to the world where well, I think it was the Star Wars, or what was it, Star Trek, where you have your own replicator, where you can just live, if you can 3D scan it, like now live in a world, if you can 3D scan it, you can create it necessarily at home if you got the material. Repeat this: if you can scan it, you can now create it necessarily and have it in your home as a 3D image if you now have the material to do it. That's the world you're coming into. And in a few years, like people say, in a few years, man, I believe you're gonna be out here choosing and growing women just like how you go out here and grow your plants. I hate to say it like that way, man, but if what I know for skin cells and my medical skills is correct, hey man, being a woman's gonna be very, very, very tough. It was very, very fortunate living a woman for the last 30, maybe let's say 60 years. But the next 200-300 years of being a woman's gonna be hellish. And I got a lot to you. It's gonna be real hell for y'all dudes that got daughters out here, bro. So I hope y'all prepared them for the future that is coming.
All right. Now we also got Inspired Truth that then came in, so I'm gonna go ahead and give him the mic. You got it, my brother.
All right. Can you hear me? As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and put like another one of these earpieces in here so that you can actually hear me better, because I notice sometimes I might not be coming through all the way loud and clear.
You sound fine right now. You sound fine.
All right, all right. Peace to you, Raj. Peace to the brothers on the panel, and peace to the chat. So here's what I want to kind of drop out there and kind of put on people's radar. The basic, the basic fundamental thing about money is that money is a proxy for social value. Now, what you're going to have occur here is that as time goes by, we're going to have to reassess the value that we put on certain things. We see these transitions and shifts with the technology moving to more and more and more efficiency. I think I can foresee a future where you end up with robot wives and actually like human side pieces. Like that seems like it might actually be probable because people are going to move. No, seriously,
But
because
when I said it, they thought I was crazy though. Hold on. Let the man
so
have his opening statement. Let the man have his opening statement.
here's the thing, like here's why, because basically if you're in a world where you have to have more and more efficiency and more productivity, you don't have a whole lot of time for a whole lot of emotional chaos. You gotta you might like that from time to time, so then you go dip and you go get the side piece. You start using like maybe Tinder becomes more like DoorDash or some stuff. You just kind of like, let me go DoorDash this chick over here. Like this makes like kind of like a whole lot of scary sense when you start looking at it that way. Now, granted, with the transitions, you're going to have economic upheaval, but that economic upheaval still centers around the idea and the concept of social value and like what social value was brought. Service sector kind of fades away as you go into AI doing more and more things. You'll have physical space for a while until that starts to fade as well. And you have to try to maximize the shift as much as you can once that opportunity door basically opens. Otherwise, you're going to have a whole lot of restrictions on guys because of just the sheer voting numbers that the ladies kind of have. They find a way to like incentivize themselves as the shift occurs. So that's kind of like some of the different things that I'm looking at, that I'm thinking about as we go into this discussion and topic. Um, just kind of pay attention to the actual real social value attached to something more than just where we are with the money right now.
Well, I'm gonna say, see, I'm trying to look at this from a realistic standpoint. When this is able to go to the masses, that's why I use it'll probably be somewhere around $500 for the unit, and then maybe $50 a month subscription, which I believe is gonna happen because you're gonna have to pay for maintenance and new software to be downloaded. So even if it's not a subscription thing, you'll need that money to take care of that robot from time to time. It'll have to happen. So men will still be working at this particular point because I don't think they're gonna just push this out to the masses all in one shot anyway. So you'll still have it where men are still working. A lot of
Now,
women will not be working anymore at that particular point because if we can have these things at home, companies can have them doing jobs at factories and facilities. That's just realistic at the end of the day. But they're not going to eliminate everybody's job immediately because that would cause chaos and then certain people would die. So they're not going to just do that all in one swoop. They're going to put it out a little bit here and there so people are more comfortable with the idea until they figure out what the next move is going to be or how to implement what the post labor life will be like. Because they're going to have to get people to agree to this post labor life, whatever it's going to be. So I'm saying you are the 13, 14, 15-year-old kid. You starting to like girls, okay? You're going to be interested in girls. Girls are going to be trained by other women. Bad behavior is copied quicker than good behavior. So the behavior of black women will spread to so many different groups of women that they will be acting the same way we talk about how black women act, and it'll be extremely regular to them too. The little boy doesn't want to be bothered. I will just wait. Give me $1,000 up. I will buy my robot and have some maintenance money. How much
You're
you like?
not. You're not looking at it properly. You're going to be able to go on, instead of DoorDash, it's going to be Turo, where you can rent a car and have a companion robot to drive you around, quote unquote, right? They're going to be renting these things from the people that have them. Initially, it'll be the wealthy that have them, and they'll rent them out. You won't have to go and buy one. You just rent them out for the purpose in which you want them for a short period of time.
I mean
Renting it out,
You know,
that will
they
happen.
have been trying to introduce sex robots and whatever for some time now, and the government, with a few exceptions, places like I guess Amsterdam has the sex robots in their brothels, and apparently the robots are more popular than the women. Um, I think if you guys think that you're just going to casually be able to replace the women sexually in this society, I think you really don't understand how America works. If you really
I don't
believe
think
that, I mean, like, there's
I,
a reason why prostitution is not legal, and it's not
yeah,
just a moral issue, you know.
I don't think I don't think we'll totally
So
replace
I
them
think
like
we're being
that.
kind of cavalier about how we think this thing is gonna play out. It is going to be much more contentious than just getting a choice subscription on Hulu. It's going to be
I
much more
think it's
difficult than that.
no. What we're saying is,
Hold
I
fast,
actually
hold
believe.
fast, hold fast. Shout out to Jerome Payne. He said Tech Bros gonna put a few raised robots out here in these streets. No food breaks, just cash, cash, 24/7. Um, there will be things like that that will also be implemented because all the different things humans do, we will now do it through some type of robot. So all those different things are going to happen in some way. I don't know exactly how it's going to all play out, but it's going to happen in some way. Go ahead, go ahead. What big booty you got?
Beautiful.
for,
I'll
for
take it
For
after that.
everybody.
everybody, for everybody.
Go ahead.
No, no. But what I'm saying is, how I actually foresee the world is like, I don't think women are going to go like away 100% completely, because that would be crazy. Like, you always want to have backups for a backup, right? It's just thing
Exactly.
is, it's just that now she understands there's a backup for her backup, right? So now, she got to quote unquote perform to a certain level, or to a certain extent. And then how I really perceive the majority of people actually out there living. I don't know if y'all ever seen what was it, Star Wars or whatever, right? But I don't know if you how Anakin and his family was living. Yeah, cool. I mean, they lived out there. It's actually happening now, right? People living out far in the quote unquote in the wilderness or whatever. They got themselves a replicator. They got them what is it, a battery pack or a generator, and they live out there necessarily in the boonies by themselves with their replicator, whatever, right? And that's how most people gonna be living. I guarantee you, that's how most people gonna be living necessarily out there in a somewhat boonies. They got a little bit of a replicator doing, creating some of the basic stuff, and they just out there living, pillar to post, living off the land. I guarantee you, that's the way people gonna be living.
All right,
I
so
think
y'all are
Uber
familiar
is
with the
right.
term the gig economy, right? I could
Yes.
foresee, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So like basically what you're going to have occur is something that's even more related to that, which is going to be kind of like the attention economy. Like now you're just kind of like performing all the time. And when you're performing all the time and trying to be productive at performing all the time, you have less time for chaos and confusion. So then, yeah, you're going to have kind of like your main thing being, say, maybe that robot. And then all of your like little fun engagement from time to time, that's going to end up being like with the real thing. Like you'll have time for chaos every once in a while, but you're not going to have chaos as a thing that you can implement in your everyday life. That's the way
Yeah,
I
I
see
think
it.
I
What?
think
What?
Uru was right when he points attention to the fact that I think he's being a little bit naive about how this will come about in society if it were to come about, right? Just the idea of renting out robots that are Ubering you around and using them for other purposes. How do you clean that thing? I mean, we know how
What?
bacteria works, right? And what
It's
product
gonna
do
That's
you use to
that's
clean it?
gonna be the
It's
that's gonna be the
You're
that's
going
gonna
too
be the
far,
it's
back
bro.
more to think
page.
about.
That's gonna
It's
be
also more to think.
the back page agreement.
Yeah, yeah, but here's the
So
thing. It's more to think about than that as well, just from What is
No, I
going to be
think
to that?
actually the hygiene issue will be less of
At
an
least to
issue
get
because
worse.
actually it's far easier to clean and even create automated cleaning systems for a robot than it is a human being. I don't think that that's going to be the primary issue.
That's not
I
the
think the
issue, exactly.
primary issue is you have a feminist system in America or a gynocratic system in America, and you're talking about removing or effectively removing that gynocratic system by separating men sexually from the women. That's how you get rid of a gynocratic system. You sexually
Well,
separate men from the women. That's what you're proposing here. So that's not going to be casually. That's not going to occur casually. There's going to be a
I think
lot
I
of
think
strife and a lot of hand wringing and a lot of debates, and there's going to be all kinds of efforts to vilify this. All kinds of efforts. They're already out there,
I want
but
It,
as
I want to
they're
go.
going to be
technology grow
crazy.
in preeminence and accessibility, those the boos are going to increase in volume and potency.
I want to preface this and remind people of the two major governing factors here. Number
Well,
one,
before you
male
say it,
disposability.
before you say it, name, let me say this because I'm pretty sure you're gonna say something a little more complex than what I'm about to say.
I'm gonna
Y'all,
get in after that.
we're talking
After
I'm
Nameless.
robots.
after nameless. I'm after nameless.
Yeah, we're talking
I
robots.
just said that.
Well, he got privilege, so we can let him go and then you go.
All right.
But I'm gonna say, look, there, the rental thing and using it for illicit activities, there'll be something carpent mental. I don't know. Well, I can't say the word right now. Y'all know what I'm trying to say though.
Compartmentalize?
Yeah, yeah, and they'll just take some. They drop one out, put one in. We gonna keep it moving. There'll be some type of cleaning process. The robot will be able to clean itself. That's not going to even be a major issue at all. But there is going to be a 12-year-old boy. Okay, if it's a boy born today in 2026, 2038, he gonna be 12. He gonna be copying stuff he see. If it's already in mass at that particular time, his identity, how he identifies a woman is going to be very different than how we identify a woman. So now I do believe Black was correct. There will be people fighting about this because there will be women who are going to try to get influential men to speak up for them because that's what women do. They try to manipulate somebody else to fight any battles for them. So there's going to be some great battle.
It will be men leading the charge against it. They might
Well,
use women as the face of it. Understand, you have a gynocratic system. It's a gynocratic system, but the overlords of the gynocratic system are men. The men use the women as a means to control the masses of other men. But over everybody are men. Over everybody. Over everybody above the system are men.
I
So I
agree,
want to
and this
say,
will be a fight amongst men. Will be leading that fight. I'm not saying that ain't gonna be true, and the women are going to support that because the women are going to be trying to get every man to be on that particular side. So that 12-year-old in 2038, the way he sees a woman is going to be a lot different than how we see women. That's all I'm. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead, Nameless.
okay. So I wasn't gonna go in any of those directions. I just wanted to again define the context of what's creating the environment that this is all happening under. Firstly, you have male disposability. We have to remember this doesn't solve for that. We haven't solved for it yet. The fourth industrial revolution is in the process of doing that. And ever since the first industrial revolution, that's been the case. The issue is for the first time, the industrial revolution is finally crossing the threshold that used to be exclusively held in the domain of women. I'm going to remind people of artificial wombs. Everyone gets upset when you bring that up because there's this undertone that people have in the back of their minds that society was supposed to be destroyed Babylon style before we get to that point. This is just the direction we're heading. Number two, the state is the universal provider. I'm going to have to remind people of that being another influence in the environment. I see absolutely zero interest in the state getting rid of these modalities. The only thing I see happening is the way it gets articulated from a national conversation, and maybe it gets brought to a state level conversation, but it's still there. So if there's always going to be this universal state provider, which is generally speaking the universal male provider in the industrial first world, then someone has to pay the cost for that. And we're back to the male disposability piece. So unless and until you have technology that can actually solve for that, and you remove the state's interest in that, and then you remove the private interest in capitalizing on that, you're going to have artificial bottlenecks that artificially slow this down. And these things being used, to Uru's point, as a means of pressure release and as artificial friction rather than an absolute that's going to be sweeping all over the place. Because again, male disposability to state universal provider access still is in play, and it's still mutually influencing the environment.
I
just want to
wait. See, I think we're forgetting something right now. I think we're forgetting that Iran is whipping America's ass right now. And I think we're also forgetting that this is the end of the American dominance. And once these government programs disappear, when America fades from the empire and people are looking for work on top of automation in the post-labor economy, feminism ain't got time to argue this and that, right? Because America's heyday, in my personal opinion, is over with, and it's going to be in everybody's best interest to let men have their their robotic wives, because at the end of the day, the power is shifting from the west back to the east, right? So I don't know. I mean, we're still talking like the world. We're still talking like it's 2019. No.
Let me say this, because man, I gotta go. Go ahead. You're still talking. I gotta go after you say that. Go ahead.
Do it again, bro.
What?
Never mind, bro.
Go ahead, bro.
All right, the world is not 2019 anymore, right? You got America losing its power, diplomatic power, right now because of Trump and his idiocy. You're having automation take away labor for time for money exchange. So at the end of the day, the world's going to look different. Legislation and then feminism, all that stuff is going to go away. So, and I'll end it there.
Okay. All right. I gotta go after this, and I'm gonna just say this: all transitions of power have transitions. You will still have the inertia of the previous system in play, even as the system changes to something else. That is just the nature of reality. So when I speak to this, we'll just add the asterisk of relativism, relative influence to the context. It's not to say that things won't change and aren't changing. But we need to make that clear that as of now, due to the current inertia, because we are still in motion of this previous gynocratic system, these influences still have to obey those forces. That's it.
I'm going to agree with Great Reset. If your robot ain't on that blade, nigga, I don't know what you doing.
All right, I was finna go and say something really similar to what Nameless was just dropped out there and said. Power shifts with resources, and the opportunity that you have every time that there's a shift, that's your opportunity to gain power. This is like kind of like borrowing from that HBO, like that Game of Thrones thing, like chaos isn't a pit, it's a ladder. Like that's your opportunity to actually wrestle away some of this power away from the gynocratic order, is when we have these transitions and these shifts. Like en masse, men will have more ability to actually do something when these shifts occur. And the other thing that, there's a little bit of like people scared of like this whole idea of artificiality of it all, like, hey, this thing isn't real. Let's just kind of like remind you guys that like when we we're surrounded by latex anyway, and we've separated that out from the consequences of the actions of producing kids. It's all artificial.
You
anyway.
niggas that ain't married that's using latex.
Well, I'm gonna say this, man. I expect humans to be humans, and we as humans collectively we do some silly stuff. Now, I believe it was 1984. That's when the first Terminator movie came out. Okay, we was introduced to the idea in mass about Skynet. Now, what did we do after seeing Terminator? We built the robots anyway.
We did.
So
We really did.
we got they not only did Terminator do a couple of sequels, a few sequels really, but then we got the Matrix. We explored what would it be like when the computers done already took over. We got that. What did we do? We said we need to find bigger, better ways to make more efficient computers, and this AI idea needs to be realized. That's what we did. So I
Yeah.
expect humans to be humans. You can't stop humans from being humans. At the end of the day, humans gonna act like humans, and humans gonna act and operate in their personal power situation. Yes, there's big people running stuff behind governments and everything, but the little person, he gonna take his little money. He gonna do little things with his little money, and that little person, especially if you a 12-year-old in 2038, and these robots been socially cool for 5 years, that's the world you know. You ain't even really talking to women.
Yeah.
You don't talk to women unless they're a relative. That's about it. You may go to a family reunion and talk to your cousins, but other than that, you ain't really even talking to women because that's not the world you grew up in. Now, I understand the powers that be need to do something to keep the power balance correct so they can quote unquote stay in charge. Now, how do they do that while continuing to supply the world with robots? I have no idea. It seems pretty stupid to me. But again, I knew it was stupid when I saw the Terminator. Not that I knew it was the real movie, I just know people. I say if people got the ability to make things like this, they're going to do bad stuff with it because that's what people do. It is what it is. So again, this whole system is all of this is, you know, when the whole picture is done, all this bad for humanity. But men are going to have a ball because women are going to be out of work because that's just the way it's going to be because they're women. And I understand there will be factions of people fighting this because they don't want the women to be out of a job. And I don't know who gonna do something with them when they don't really offer anything to society because all the non-complicated jobs are going to go away because the machines are going to be doing the non-complicated jobs.
It's on. There is always a simp someplace. There's always a matriarchal drone someplace that's saying, "Mama, I'm gonna make sure you okay with that." So trust me, there would be plenty of them. But as I really look at
They'll
the
need a
situation,
job. They
yeah,
would need to figure out how to get a job because
I think
again,
that
anything that ain't
I mean,
complicated.
I think it's interesting how you all speak as if only the women will be replaced in a world where they can 3D print a home.
No, I
So
said the men gonna get replaced
I
too.
think you guys no, well, but I'm just saying we're being kind of casual about, well, the women are going to be replaced, but we almost everything we do, male and female, is replaceable. There are very few jobs now that, with the right applied focus of technology, could not be easily replaced and performed far more efficiently by artificial robotic simulated AI means. So we're all going to be in that position sooner rather than later. We all are.
I think that we have to kind of go back to the whole purpose of our financial system in the first place, which was just finding a better way of doing bartering and exchange. Like we're still going to have like a need for exchanging stuff with other people one way or another, whether we're using credits or whether we're using just, hey, I'll do this for you if you do that, like back to regular bartering again.
No,
I
Man,
think
I
I
think a
think
lot of
Nameless really brought some good attention to just the reality of the world we're living in right now. Um, it is very feminist in nature. America wouldn't look like it looks right now if it weren't for feminism. So
But that's
I don't
that's
believe I don't believe that. I mean, really, when you think deeply about it, I don't think that AI sex robots are going to be enough to push back on that feminism because it's embedded into our system and even our government. And our government is going to be doing a lot of the regulating or the regulations and coming up with a lot of the regulations surrounding these new AI bots. I mean, you have the Federal Trade Commission, you have the National Institute or Standards on Technology, you have the General Services Administration. You have all of these governing bodies. I mean, I'm even interested to see what the Federal Communications Commission is going to have to say about this.
I have a bit of pushback to that. Like, so basically all of those inefficiencies and all those extra frills fade away when your concern is survival. And we're getting closer and closer to the point where America is going to be in survival mode. And all of those little extra inefficiencies and add-ons and all those things that interfere with progress are going to have to fade away. You don't have time for that anymore.
Yeah, but what would a sex robot do for the production of men?
Oh,
Because
well,
we don't have those numbers yet, right? We're just speculating. We're not
well,
fully living in this society right now that we all have easy access to these sex robots like we're speculating right now. So
well,
it's easy to say that. It's easy to say that while we're not living in that environment now, but it actually could lead in a decline of productivity amongst men if we have
well,
that in our
well,
society.
the decline of productivity won't even matter because again, it'll be women will probably get hit, and I'm saying the most first. Then later on down the road, the men will get hit, and no one's gonna care because see, this is the thing, because y'all expanding the conversation way more than I kind of wanted, but it's all right. Because at the end of the day, ain't nobody gonna be able to eat anyway. Once you get to a point where you start replacing all this stuff, now I granted, I think people gonna believe a lot of stuff is gonna happen that ain't really gonna happen. If you get to a point where you just don't need human labor, there's no reason to keep you alive. Who's gonna feed you?
that's very true because you lose your value to society, right? If you're no longer exchanging your know-how, your expertise, time for money, which is majority of people do, then you're irrelevant in society at that point, right? You're irrelevant. And then you have the advent of the robot, and then on top of that, you have the advent of power going from the west to the east, and this is where you guys are. This is where miscalculation is happening. This is not the Roman Empire falls, and then the French come up, then the French fall, then the English come up, and then the English fall, and then the Americans come up. They're all Western in mindset. They believe in the same principles and things like this. What we're going to see soon is America falling and China rising. We're going to go from a fundamental Western ideology to a global Eastern ideology. That changes the whole calculus right there. And then on top of that, what Roger's saying is correct. When labor or we go into this post-human in the West because in the East, they're not going to allow this. They're not. China will never allow their men to marry fucking robots, right? Just this is not happening here. This is the production to destroy the West.
Now, and I do want to say, I mean, realistically, y'all, because humans gonna be humans. If they can get the job done, they've been able to implement the robots in society where they're living amongst people and now they're
Yeah.
working factory jobs and all this other stuff. They've implemented these robots all over the place. I'm a rich person. I'm part of this big billionaire family. Why would I feed you? Why would I send a truck to a grocery store when you don't have a way to pay for it? Why would
I
I do
took
any of this stuff?
you gonna be
because
living. I have a
Because a smart and clever and aggressive and a brave group of human beings, and this is historical, are going to band together and kill your ass and everybody in your group. That's historical. That's why you're going to feed people.
that and what you're failing to realize is if you allow the poor to die off, you're no longer wealthy.
Ha. Boom.
No,
It's like the
well, I
snake
mean,
eating its own tail at that point.
No, no, I'm answering Roger's question. I'm not challenging nothing you said about the East. Roger's saying why, if I got robots and I'm wealthy enough to have robots, basically why do I care if the poor survive? Because without poor people to serve you, you're not even wealthy.
And you know what? Guess what? I think what you and Black Rule just said is correct. Now, is it going to stop people from doing it? All I'm gonna say is, Terminator came
Yes.
out, I believe, in 1984. We built the
No, no, no,
movie.
no. No,
It
I'm
had
with
to
you on
stop
that.
people from doing it.
I'm with you on
But
that. I say F it, just bring on
I don't
Skynet.
remember seeing any. I don't remember seeing any billionaires in the Terminator movies or in the Matrix. We're
Y'all
all
looking at
dog
it
food
wrong.
in those scenarios. We're all dog food in those scenarios.
And I
Yeah,
think I am saying that I think that because humans act the way humans act, they will go to dog food.
I don't know. I don't think you understand
well,
wealthy people. Wealthy people like being
yeah,
wealthy so they can remind you that you're not.
I do
They don't
get
want you
I
die.
do
what
They
you
don't
what
want you
no.
dead.
I
They
do
want
get
you
Yeah,
that.
impoverished.
and they wanna rule amongst humans.
Yes.
What's the
Yeah,
point of ruling if I'm not ruling amongst humans? And I
That's what I
can't
was
rule
trying.
amongst
Hold on.
humans if they're all dead.
I
That's what I
think
was
there would
trying to
be
say. No,
well, let
that's
me
what
just say
I
this.
was
There
trying.
will be a small amount of humans kept alive so they can fulfill their ego. I don't disagree with what y'all saying. A small amount of humans will be kept alive so they can play their ego games. But the vast majority
Yeah,
will be
but
gone.
the problem with your analysis
No.
is that humans are going to be figuring out that they're being exterminated, and some of them are going to say, "Fuck that, let's go kill them."
Yeah.
You can't
Okay, wait a
go
minute, wait a minute.
from 9 billion people to 100 million people without people fighting you back. You
What? No,
can't.
no. What? No. The thing is, like I said earlier, it's gonna be like Star Wars, right? Like if you remember Star Wars, how was Anakin raised? He was out there raised in Tatooine, out there in the desert by himself. If you type in right now homesteading, most of those people live out there in the woods by themselves. They live out there in the Texas deserts by themselves. They live out there in the Midwest by themselves. They're going to be separated vastly by themselves. How are they going to get money? You're going to need money to maintain your life, maintain your robots, maintain your still standard of living. So I'm not gonna say the quote unquote your billionaire class is still going to be the billionaire and the millionaire class, right? It's just that the population is going to shrink and the millionaire class will still be the millionaire class. It's just going to be less of them. Like I'm saying, you're gonna have a Tatooine just like you do in Star Wars situation where you can create everything you basically need, but you're gonna have to pay me, and then you're gonna have your own power structure where the people who have the power maintain within themselves necessarily in whatever their social group that may be in.
I
All
think
right,
it
now I'm gonna
depends on
say
how
shout
fast
out
the
to
shift occurs.
Yeah, but
well,
those
let me
are
say
settler worlds, though. In those fantasies, those are settler worlds. Human beings went to those planets and settled those planets. So they didn't necessarily originate on those planets as a species. They were part of a colonies that came from an originator or home world and spread it throughout the galaxy. So they, in some cases, are able to peaceably do that in this relatively minor on this relatively minor and unimportant planet. But in our scenario, we're all share. We, at least today, we're all
Yeah.
sharing one planet. We're not spread it throughout the galaxy, cherry picking inhabitable planets at this point.
My bad. I'm talking about the United
what
States. I'm not
what
talking
what, what
about every other country. I'm talking about strictly for the people that will dwell within the United States border. I
but
cannot speak
I'm
towards
saying
what's
it's
going to
one
happen
thing
in.
to go and spread throughout the galaxy and pick planets. The whole other thing to stay in America and you're going to homestead when somebody says, well, no, I still want that part of Oklahoma because there's
Well,
oil there
uh,
or
well
That's
etc.
here's
where you're gonna have your
I,
I
rights at.
still
all right,
want
Yeah.
to
so
control that
y'all,
part of Oklahoma. That's
I
going
gotta
to
get the
happen.
That's your own.
I
That's
gotta get
going
the
to
super
always
chat.
happen here in the United States.
all right. I'll let Roger get his
Yeah, I
super
gotta
chat,
get
but
the
I
super
got
chat
next one
in.
up.
Shout out to Bruce on Wayne. I understand. Again, humans are going to be humans. The human population is going to shrink a lot because people are going to operate in certain ways once robots are there for the masses. So it ain't going to be quite the same thing. The rich can still be rich. Again, they will leave a certain amount of people alive to fulfill their ego purposes. But when you got
Okay.
robots that's advanced in a society in mass, you're just not important enough to be around.
Rogers,
And hold on, because I have literally said myself, if they get it to a point where I can't eat it, I got to go take your food. I understand how other people are going to rise up. I get that because I would participate in it. But at
I
the
saw
end of
what
the day, if we
I
get
saw.
to that particular point, again, the population is going to shrink. You already got it where you got people not really communicating like that with each other. If people ain't communicate with each other, babies are not being born because you don't have humans reproducing with each other like that because they don't even mess with each other like that. The people who fight are going to be people with something in common with their common enemy. Those are going to be your fighters. If
Now,
you separate men from women to that level, you know who's fighting for what at that point. So you're gonna have a very small population, maybe more than 100 million. You won't have a billion.
now to support kind of like what usual business was saying here, like we do see something sort of like what he's describing in cities. Like we see people going out with their tents out into the woods or out into other spaces underneath like underpasses and stuff like that, wherever they can. Those are the things that we see occurring today. We do see like people going outside of the bigger social structure and then making like sectors and substructures outside of the larger one.
Is all right.
Hey,
So how much of the
Hold
scale
fast,
that
hold
is being
fast, hold
scaled
fast,
down?
hold fast. Because we my bad, brother. I apologize. Jerome in the bot, we didn't even give him a chance to speak. My apologies, brother. My apologies. You can get your 2 minutes in, brother. You can get your 2 minutes. Go ahead. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah, y'all niggas is artificial intelligence. I would have been speaking, but it's cool. It's alright. I ain't mad at y'all. Y'all was deeply building, but I think y'all overthinking it. Like Roger said, once it's implemented, first of all, they gave us numerous movies showing us that they was going to do this. You got the Stepford Wives Club. You got Weird Science. They been told you what they're doing. So like Ooh said, like probably in '85, yeah, this has been coming. The thing that's going to change the game is when they implement the artificial womb. That's when women will become. You don't even need them no more. You really, and I think was it China who did that when they was like, we don't want no women born or something like that, and
Yeah, the one child policy. The
they
one
dead
child
ass
policy.
dead ass implemented that. This is I don't and everybody's oh what people are going to do. Yo, people right now are not the people of before. Niggas, we don't we arguing about immigrants getting put out of the country instead of arguing about is a woman a real woman and woman like come on. So I don't see this whole revolution coming like in Terminator 2 and the Matrix. We are the frog in the water. And when if you know that science experiment, the frog never jumped out the water when it got too hot. And I end it right there.
Hold on, I do say jump out the water. Let me go ahead and just say that now though. That's just
No, the
But the
frog
I
jumped
frog
out the
don't.
don't
water.
know to jump out the water because when he got into the water, it was fine, and the temperature slowly went up. He just kept getting
Yes.
used to the higher temperatures. He never thought he had a reason to jump, and by the time he figured out, he already dead. Now,
Frog life.
again, you got a
Well,
12-year-old
we'll,
boy.
we'll know we figure out the temperature of that water if they institute that draft. We'll get up close and personal as to whether or not we feeling the heat from the temperature of that water change, the temperature change in that water. Sharp.
But I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna say I understood the complexities of it, but I knew the temperature change when I saw the Terminator. When I saw what Skynet was, I said, if humans get the chance to do it, this is where we go. Why? Because I know humans. You know, now it's a long time since I seen Terminator the first time. You know, it's a lot of years done passed. Again, I didn't know exactly how it was going to be done, but we bout there. That's all I'm saying. We bout there. You know, because humans saw that, they knew what was up, and they just did it anyway. That's what we do as humans, y'all. We just keep going anyway. You know, and that's real talk. And I'm gonna say, there's been a lot of white folks leading the way, and white folks don't seem to have. I don't know. It's like a something that seems to be in black folks where you know you're going toward destruction, and we'll kind of stop and be like, let's not go no further. They don't seem to have that. They just seem to keep going. So at the end of the day, I don't think they're about to develop it down. So they're gonna keep going. There's so much stuff I done heard that they have done. You know, some stuff is supposed to be secret, some stuff is supposed to be conspiracy, some stuff is real. It's hard to tell which is what sometimes, but at the end of the day, man, I just don't think they have a natural inhibitor when it comes to destruction. They just go toward it anyway.
But Roger,
So
even to that point, Uru reminds us all the time, black people's numbers are dwindling to the point where we're not even replaceable, and we don't even see the direness in that. So it ain't no white people and a black thing; it's a human thing. Like we are literally as humans in that water, and we are not realizing that shit is like 90 degrees.
Yeah.
well, I mean, that's a pretty solid point. That's a pretty solid point because I'm gonna say I ain't said I'm smarter than anybody else. I just saw a movie that told me this is where humans are going because humans don't check themselves.
Yeah, we can't really be naive about this though, right? Because in the world where we actually do have these spots, you know, we already have AI technology that's replacing jobs and replacing human capital. Really. We
I
don't even
mean,
own the infrastructure. We don't even own the infrastructure, or you know, we're not in control of the infrastructure by which all of this is coming about. So we don't really make the rules and regulations. That is black men. We don't really have a say in how all of this gets to market and what happens and what regulations and what restrictions are on that when it comes to market. We have no say in any of that.
and I think people didn't really pay attention to when the humans really start being replaced. You know, because that happened a long time ago. Um, y'all ever heard of something called the assembly line? And I'm looking it up right now. I'm looking it up right now to see when that
Yeah,
started.
the evolution
This
of it.
December
Didn't that
1st.
start with Ford? Didn't that start with Ford? That started with Henry Ford, right? So that had to
Yeah,
be early
No, it
90s.
started with E.C. Patterson, bro.
no,
That's who actually created it. It was a black man,
Okay,
actually.
EC
no,
Patterson.
Funny enough.
I think he created the automobile. I think Ford created the assembly line, if my memory's correct. Patterson's did the automobile, but Ford got a lot of
What is
credit
it?
for
What
it
is
because he started the assembly line.
no,
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 I
no,
don't
no,
know.
no,
I thought bro started both of them, but we'll see.
no. The what's his name? Benjamin Banneker. Who created the peanut?
Not
Carver.
created the peanut,
Oh,
but
that's George
George Washington
Washington
Carver
George
Carver,
Washington
man.
Carver
He
also
used
didn't
the
started
create the
peanut.
peanut, by the way. He
George
didn't create the
George
peanut.
George Washington
Yeah, we ain't
Carver
talking about that
started.
though.
George Washington Carver worked with Henry Ford to create the assembly line and the manufacturing plant.
See
Oh
what I tell
yeah,
you? I
yeah,
knew. I remember a
yeah.
black
You're
person
right.
still
You're
helped this
right.
young
Yeah,
girl
you're right.
make
You're
shit.
right. Yeah,
Matter of
yeah.
fact,
You're right about that.
manufacturing
Yep.
plant actually
I forgot
was
that
named
about
by
Carver.
Carver.
But y'all
Okay.
taking
I
Roger
forgot that
point
about
way
Carver.
farther than he trying to take it
Yeah.
though.
No. My point is
Yeah, I get your
eliminating
point.
humans from the job force definitely was started by then. Now
The
I
automation,
can't tell you what they did beforehand, but I know for sure this was the first big innovation to removing humans from the workforce.
automation has always been here. Automation is not new. Automation's been around since the Industrial Revolution.
And a lot of us think automation started when they started having computers do stuff. We think
No,
that we
No,
have in our heads that's the ideal of automation. We
he was
got
the
no.
first
computers
pump.
doing stuff. We have
Yeah.
robots doing stuff.
Let me say something really quick. I want to bring attention to the fact that anytime we've had creations like the assembly line and the economy began to benefit the way that it did from the economic flow that was created from the assembly line. That benefits white America first. right? Right? Because when you think about all of the wealth that was created just from the Industrial Revolution, that ended up in white households. And what did they do? What did they do? They built an entire highway system through black communities to create suburbs for all these newly wealthy white folks to live in, away from us, right? So, and then they also enacted policy, even in the Federal Housing Administration. They adopted redlining policy that kept us out of those suburbs, right? So I say that to say that in the advent of this technology and the regulation and the bringing it to market, what does that look like for black men actually, right? What does the end product look like for us versus white America?
Man, you guys know how to
I think we
ruin a
got to
good
ask
family.
that question.
You guys,
Before we do though, before anybody attempts to, I got to say shout out to Trail Bentley. He makes a good point right here, and I appreciate the Trail Bentley tax, my brother. He said human force reduction, and I believe he means workforce reduction, goes back as far as Eli Whitney and the cotton gin. And that's a good place to start that I can think of when you start doing stuff that were they start making stuff for multiple people, something that it took multiple people to do to bring it down to a single person, and that was 1794. Okay, okay, 70. Well, actually, it said Eli Whitney invented the modern cotton gin in 1793, while in Georgia, and he was granted a patent for it in 1794. So in 1793, it was already invented. He just got the patent in
So
1794.
so basically, some unknown slave created that, and the white man took the credit for it. That's what very likely happened.
Yeah. So I want to say something quickly because I'm kind of disappointed in y'all. Y'all really know how to ruin a topic. This was supposed to be about Gucci. And do you want to put a little motor oil on your love ride? King shit like that. But now we got into policy, labor law, social anthropology. You guys, I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed.
I'm gonna have to be with you on that one. I'm gonna have to be with you on that.
Kind of took the fun out of it, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, you added so much stuff. We didn't even get to the fun stuff.
Yeah, we didn't get nowhere near the fun stuff. Our titties gonna be feeling real. You know what that mouth do. Man, y'all disgust me.
And that's why hot sauce doesn't run the world, man. That's why hot sauce doesn't run the world.
No, I mean, but it is the topic of today's show, and truth be told, because humans, like I said before, sexualize everything. I mean, if you don't really think humans sexualize everything, man, they sexualize broomsticks. Okay, let's be real.
These niggas refuse to sexualize a sexual topic. And see, I have to say this. This is a prime example of why black men will never work together. When you think everybody here enjoy a piece of pussy, and they refuse to cooperate.
No.
Hey, look, I got you. Look, check this out. Like, why we put table skirts on tables, right? Because people were thinking that people would get sexually aroused by the legs of the table.
Well, you don't destroy human civilization as we know it to get a nut. Okay.
Listen. You know that
he's still doing it. He's still doing it. Roger, they scared of black women. We just might as well just go on forward. They scared of black women. They scared of. All of the rebuttals are, well, what are the women gonna say?
No, but seriously though, having a serious conversation.
I am being serious. I am being serious.
Having a conversation about the implications.
No, I got privilege. So first and foremost, my co-counsel is right. You kept talking about what the women are. That is the truth. And also why I am alumni from Wharton, and there's a Wharton alumni in the White House right now. God damn it. There's alumni in the highest court in the land, and there's alumni all throughout CEOs all around the world. Right? And I'm in Asia doing my part. We do run this motherfucker.
But I'm definitely gonna say, look, when it comes down to it, if these robots, and
Oh
I did
man.
give a price, if you get $500 for a purchase price and $50 for a prescription, because I'm thinking that's a good number for it to go out to the masses. It is a robot; they can do a lot of stuff, so they ain't gonna just give it to you. You know what I'm saying? They don't give it to you for free. So $550 a month, yeah, women have a huge problem on their hands. Now, yeah, somewhere down the line, it will destroy everything as far as from an economic standpoint. Yeah, that's down the line though. But in the beginning, especially if you got people like Trump running things based on what I could tell, well, yeah, they'll push for something like this to happen because where he want women to be. Because he is, well, I'm gonna say the way
Not,
people are perceiving Trump.
90 something percent of all your sex toys in America for men and women, where they come from?
Asia.
China.
China.
China. Yes,
China.
China. So why don't we have the autonomous sex robot in America now? I mean, we're getting
Because
all
we
the
worry
other
about what the
toys
women
from
gonna say.
China. We getting the dildos and the straps and all
Oh,
that
they're
from
not.
China.
They're
How
not.
come we ain't got Holly or why ain't we got that one?
Your sex
Why
robot.
ain't we got the Android?
Your robot. Robot.
Please
Hey,
stop.
Your sex robots won't come. The
we
robots won't come from China. Japan is far more ahead. Like if you talk about like stationary
Okay,
dolls,
all right. All right. So why don't we have the Japanese sex
I don't. I
dolls
don't.
here running around?
I don't think.
we got
I don't think they're ready
we
yet.
we
They
we gotta
do.
get we gotta get the studs to order them.
I don't think they're
That's
ready
what we
yet.
gotta do.
I think that. I don't think they're ready yet.
No,
They
what
said
Black Rule
Right.
dildos
what Black
dildos
Rule
are
is
for health
saying, the
They
purposes.
they
the
they
government
they
ain't ready.
they got whole brothels with sex
So
androids in there. They're more popular than the human being. So
so
obviously the technology is there, and I bet you that technology is not being made in Denmark. I bet you it's coming out of China and Japan and Taiwan. So why don't
okay.
we
So
have those here
Culture,
in America?
for
culture, we
example,
not there
okay. So
yet.
can I
Culture, we not there yet.
hold on?
That's why.
Can I say something,
Yeah, I could
please?
agree with that.
So 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 I do a little import export for some stores, right? So Shanghai has the biggest adult toy expo in the world, right? It is every April. April. It's Shanghai, and then it's the Canton Fair. These are the two biggest in the world, and I go there to support stuff
Why
for some small shops back home in Philly. I have not
why am I not
I
surprised?
have
Why am I
not
not
I
surprised?
have not seen any full robotic stuff on display yet at all. And you have people from all over the world, Denmark, Finland, Germany, because they buy the most actually, right? And I have not seen any sex robots whatsoever for the past ever.
Yeah,
Maybe you
no,
ain't spending enough
So
money.
no,
so
no. I
so
think
so so there are no sex robots being made, but yet they operating brothels of them in
No,
Amsterdam.
no, the German one, those are still toys. Those are not full robots. They're not robots. They're just stationary dolls.
okay. Well, my thing is,
And
regardless of
why don't we have them here in America?
You
Oh,
I
we
can.
mean,
got
if they're so
stationary
popular,
dolls.
if they're so popular with men that men would rather pay to have sex with a I guess inert doll or whatever. I don't know what you're describing.
There's
Why aren't they here?
Exactly,
you have
because the culture is not set for it
no,
though.
no,
But
they
it's
are
here,
not,
there. They
it's
are
not
Hey,
the
there. They
culture.
are there.
I
It's
think
not.
y'all walking right
No,
into
no, no.
y'all walking right into
Hold
Lou's
on.
point.
Let me say it. Let me say it. He's basically saying the government is regulating things where
Exactly.
they
Yep.
stay out of
Yep.
there. It
Yes,
ain't got nothing to
Yep.
do with no
Yep. Yep.
yes.
cultural
Yep.
thing.
Yep. Yep.
Because if
No,
they are,
you're working under you're working on falsities because dolls are there. Matter of fact,
They got
what you call it, browser has a deal where you have the doll plus the VR set by Samsung, and you can use that while enjoying videos. They are there.
Didn't Roger do a show on a nigga getting married to a dog?
Yeah, they are
Then what are
there.
y'all talking about?
That's why I said the culture isn't set. I mean, it sounds as crazy as it came out your mouth as me hearing it. Yeah, right. Like in the
No,
culture now in America, like as quote unquote, as plentiful as coochie is here, you don't need that, right? But then see what I'm saying in other places, and we're dealing with other cultures and men, bro. Like it's a little different.
Nah, the
There's
That's all
culture
I'm
laws
is
here
saying.
right
here. We
now, right?
don't know
Because
what a
right
woman
now,
no.
is.
No, 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 no.
We
When
sanction and ban all
no,
men's.
no, when
Like
I
the
mean the
culture is,
culture,
we are
I
deviant though right
understand
now.
what you're
We are
saying.
all the
No, but
way
I
deviant.
understand. No, no. What? Come, listen. Let me finish what I'm trying to say, bro. I understand what you mean. Yes, there are here, bro. But the culture itself is not set up for that, bro. That still seems weird to us, right? Not granted necessarily. Maybe in 100 years, it's not gonna sound crazy. But as the culture is set now, it sounds crazy to do something like that. That's all we saying.
Nigga, we didn't think it was. It sounded crazy. It sounded crazy. What 15 years ago for men and a man to get married, but it don't sound crazy no more. That's what I'm
uh-huh.
telling you. They've turned the temperature up, and y'all just sitting in the water.
Yep.
This shit is
No, no, no. I think
and
it's
it is
crazy now.
literally
That's what I'm saying.
already here. You might think it's crazy, but you said society. You said the system. We didn't say big booty boot chicks from Uganda for everybody.
Hey, but it's for those who can also make it to Uganda, bro. You see what I'm saying? For everybody who can make it, you see what I'm saying? That's
But
also the
but
in the fine
but
small print.
what
Yeah,
what
I gotta
this
But the
feed that
point,
chick from Uganda. I
the
don't
point,
gotta
the
feed that
point, the point
robot
I'm
or have
making
sex
is
with
that
her.
it's here. The point I'm saying is here, right? They even have the thing where you can have sex with the doll, and you put on VR glasses, and you can imagine you're having sex with the porno star while you're actually having sex with the doll.
Oh shit, it's a wrap. You shouldn't
but
even told them to put that on
shout out to the people developing technology out there.
Right?
But
VR.
Black
You put your
Black
pants
reset
on and
about
then
I'm
to
VR.
download Jasmine Crockett programming
okay,
and get a dog.
but
Hey,
I'm gonna
hey,
say this:
hey,
as the women act the way they act, I'm pretty sure things like that are gonna pick up. And once they pick up to a certain point, the men are gonna demand other things, and at the end of the day, the women are still gonna get to this level of non-importance. You know what I'm saying? That's just real talk. They're gonna get to a level of non-importance. And the 12-year-old that grew up in a world where women wasn't important for the last 5 years, he gonna see it way different than we are. Promise you
Roger,
that.
Yo,
can I say
oh,
something
they
really
already
fast?
talking
Can I
about
say something
men's
really fast?
productivity dropping off due to the fact that there's not a lot of interaction between men and women. So
Yeah,
that might be something that they implement to bring up your production levels.
That's what I'm saying.
Let
It
well,
makes sense.
let me say this. Let me say this really
I
fast,
must.
right? Because Uru made a point, and I think that y'all were missing it. Like he was essentially walking y'all into the point that he was trying to make, but I just think that we're missing it here. So I'm going to read something, okay? And this is coming directly
all right,
from the
before you
yeah.
read it, shout out to Trail Bentley. He said the title says wise. We'll see that robotic husbands will have a larger market per studies by 2030. You know what, Trail? I'm gonna say this. I don't think so because women have an ego about doing something for a man. I think that ego is gonna mess with them, even though it's a robot or something like that. I think their ego is going to mess with them, and they're going to be a lot of women trying to get a dude to pay for it, which is going to slow them right on down. Now, I could be wrong, but I just don't see the way women's ego operate is outpacing the men because men are getting tired of the women. The women are
I,
not
I,
getting
I
tired of the
I
men.
think it's a lot. I think it's a lot easier to make a simulated female doll to have sex than it is to make a simulated male doll to clean the gutters and do the yard work and change the oil.
I mean, protector
I
provider,
think the things
basically.
that men do, the things that male presumably robot do, is a whole lot more complicated and a whole lot more serious than some doll being able to be positioned a certain kind of way and say ooh and ah at the right moments and be
And
lubricated.
that's a very good point. But Bronx was going to read something, so let's let him read it. Go ahead, Bronx.
Yeah. So currently the National Institute of one second, sorry. I just lost my. All right, here we go. So the National Institute of Standards and Technology is already developing the framework of state and safety guidelines and risk management tools to address the broader dangers of generative AI and synthetic content, which in turn are used to regulate the creation and dissemination of AI generated intimate imagery, which they coined AIG, NCII, and child abuse material or child sexual abuse material. The National Institute of Standards and Technology is updating its AI risk management framework to include guidelines for mitigating non-consensual intimate imagery and synthetic sexual abuse material. It has received comments in its researching methods to identify, label, and prevent the creation of harmful, non-consensual sexual content, including deepfakes and AI-generated pornographic material. That's going to also fall under the line of the AI sex bot. Federal Take It Down Act passed in 2025. This federal law forces platforms to remove non-consensual intimate imagery, including AI-generated content, within 48 hours. This is more just content creation, but a federal proposed bill aimed at criminalizing creation, importation, or sale of sex robots that resemble children was that was the Creeper Act that's in legislation. So I want to point to the fact that there's already legislation that's in place and enforced and even being introduced as bills in the Congress right now as we speak that are trying to prevent and regulate how these sex robots are coming to market. So right now it's more specified on just um, child protection as far as using that robot to resemble a child. But I can only imagine that there's going to be a lot of legislative pushback on even the adult robots and how those can be used in our society.
So the people handling stuff is concerned. And let's be real about it. They basically concerned with some white man getting a robot, dressing up as a girl. You know, and I'm talking about an underage individual and having sex with his underage looking robot.
No,
I
what
That's
mean,
what
not
they
that's
what they're doing
but that
is
opens the door.
what
That
they're
opens the
doing
door
is
to other
what
legislation
they
too.
always they're doing what they always do. They did with the DV issue, your sex issues. They take extreme examples,
Exactly.
focus
Exactly.
all the attention on those extreme examples, scare the hell out of the voting populace, and the politicians get to then conveniently make the most punitive laws. They take OJ allegedly abusing Nicole Simpson and craft a whole $1 billion a year, multi-billion-dollar a year DV apparatus around it. That's what they're doing there. They're laying the groundwork for that. You will not be able to just do this subscription thing with these sex robots and go on about your business. It ain't gonna be that easy, I promise you.
now I'm gonna
Exactly.
say, shout out to
Exactly.
Trell Bentley. He says more roses are sold now than pocket pussies. And I know that's got to be true. I know that's got to be true. Shout out to you, Trell Bentley, for that. And I'm gonna say this. If the white man is if he's making a robot to look like a kid so he can have his sexual fantasy of being with a kid, now I'm gonna say that might be a little safer if he's doing that than you making it illegal where he got to go find a real kid.
Sir, sir, sir. This is not a path that you want to go down, sir. Stop you right there,
I
sir.
mean,
That is not a path. No, 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 no. It's
Okay,
not a
you know
path
what?
you
you know
want
what?
to go
I,
down.
I get what you're saying, but I am gonna say this. That's definitely gonna turn into some type of property rights issue. But people do push extreme stuff because this can't even be that big of a population of people that is even doing something like that. But people do some of everything, so that's why you have people coming up with stuff like this. Because yeah, you can't
So,
once you talk about a group of
so
people, you can't pull nothing off the table. That is a true
from
thing.
a logistical point of view, what's going to happen? Anytime the gynocrats want to demonize men, they're going to use that type of language, pedophilia, and all types of stuff. They're gonna say, hey, the reason why they want these robots to look young is because these men want to sleep with young women and young boys and all this other kinds of stuff. This is what they're
That-
going to do
what they,
to,
well,
to tamper it down,
what
tamp it
they gonna
down.
what they're gonna do is take a small group of white men doing stuff, and they're gonna use it against the rest of us. I'm gonna say it like that.
Yes,
They're gonna take what
yes.
a small group of white
That's
men do and beat everybody over the
that,
head with it.
that's what we gonna
And when
say.
they
And
say
whatever. What,
doing, if you
mhm.
look, I bet my right arm that if you look at the bill dockets in states in the United States, I'll bet you definitely places like California, I bet you they already have that stuff already in line for legislation already. New
I
York,
mean, they
I bet
called
you
it the
they have it
Creeper Act.
already. Yeah,
The fact that they called the legislation that I just mentioned the Creeper Act lets you know exactly just the language itself. It's not
can you
Creeper
say
Act.
that
It's
again?
the
For some
Creeper Act.
reason, when you say that the rebrand, what's that?
No, they called it the Creeper Act. It's I think they first
Man,
brought
you
it
real
to the
low for
bill.
some reason. We all trying to hear you.
For
Niggas are
some
Well,
struggling.
reason, whenever you try to describe it, we're not able to hear what the label you're using.
that's because he ain't
Creeper
really
Act.
saying
Can you
nothing.
hear me? Can you hear me?
We hear you now. Everybody be
Oh, we
real
hear you
quiet so
now.
we can try to
Yeah,
hear this dude.
Okay. So it's called the Creeper Act. It's a bill that they currently have already.
the
The
Creeper
Creeper
Act.
Act. Exactly. Yes.
The Creeper
So the
Act.
name is
Oh my
Creeper.
God,
Okay, okay,
nigga, that's obvious.
okay.
Yep. Yep. That's what I'm
they
saying.
made
That's what I'm
Damn.
saying,
they
bro.
made
So
it they made
they're
it
not even
obvious.
they're not even
They didn't even
pretending.
hide.
They're not even pretending.
No,
Exactly. Exactly.
Damn.
God damn.
I don't know. I
The
think it's just gonna be
Creeper
real.
Act.
It's gonna be the work.
Wow.
All
Exactly.
I'm saying is, Uru, as I know for the facts, right? Uh, it's getting easier and easier to quote unquote grow you a person necessary, right? And if you know what you're doing, you can do it for about $200,000 or less. I'm gonna tell
Well,
you that much, right?
if you could
If
buy
you know
one
what
at
you're doing.
125K, I mean,
How many Negroes gonna be able to do
Now,
that?
now I'm not saying it's a lot of people can do it. Now I'm saying if you have the skill set, you can do it. Like when I have conversations with I ain't gonna say his name, and we actually speak about it. Trust me, it can be done. 200K and less. Oh yeah,
yeah,
you can have your own. You
all right.
bro.
Well,
I,
you need to put together a training program or something, because shit, you make a fortune teaching
yeah,
people how to create
Some
your own
things,
personal human being.
yeah.
some even it sounds funny, but even some things I don't think he even want to do because that's when you start going to some evil places.
Well, I'm just gonna
And it's
say,
like you moving in Dr. Frankenstein territory.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
And,
like it sound cool, but it's like when you open that don't fully go through it, it's like nah. I should have stayed. Well, I should stay at the doormat. Should have
I'm
stayed at the
gonna,
Well,
doormat.
I'm gonna
well,
say,
they,
I don't think a lot of
they,
brothers got an extra $200,000 laying around that they could just throw away on something like that. That's what I'm gonna say. I don't think they got an extra 200,000 that they can just throw away into to something like that.
there,
You know,
there is a very very good movie that depicted that really well called The Island, and if you check that out, it depicts exactly what he's talking about in great detail. Um, so I think we do have those capabilities. I remember when I was in high school in the '90s, the UK was cloning sheep, and there was a big stink about that. You know, you had to be reading the newspaper back then. You know, but they've been cloning sheep for a very long time for the purposes
Oh
of
yeah,
cattle.
That and pigs. If you can do a pig, you
yeah,
can
yeah.
do a human because it's genetically the same.
yeah.
Listen. If you can clone any mammal, you can clone any other mammal.
Well, yeah. Cloning is out there. I'll just say that it's out there. You know,
Yeah,
a lot of cloning out there. They actually labeling food to kind of give you a hint on what's
Yeah.
natural versus what ain't so natural.
If you if you listen to these people, apparently half of our celebrity class has been cloned by now.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Now getting back more toward the subject of the show, I'm gonna say there's a reason that a lot of women would not want men to get out here and be able to have access to these robots. So calling something the creeper act, which kind of says we're not really hiding what we're doing. We're trying to, but it also says that, we desperately want to make sure this goes through because we don't want these guys to do things to these inanimate objects because what if they think about it as a real person and then they want to, that's all they're going to argue is they're going to want to go out and do it to some real person. If they're doing it at home to the fake person, that's the only argument you really going to have to make with something like that. But you make it so scary that some man has to think about his daughter and be like, well, if I don't sign off this, I don't love my daughter. That's what try to position they're going to try to put people in. So it's not surprising to me at all that stuff like this is going on because I think women, who are doing stuff like this are just a little bit more aware of the life that is actually around them. And once these robots become available to a mass of men, I just don't think women are gonna hold that much importance to the mass of men. Now, maybe small select groups of people who are already rich, who are already politically advanced, maybe they care. But y'all, there's gonna be a 12-year-old at some point that gonna grow up in this world where women just ain't been that important, and he just not gonna ever see them the same way we see them.
So I don't know. It's interesting how you guys talk about things because that
Tell
12-year-old that well, I mean, but unless we're going to inhibit the women, either we're going to be producing only males in artificial wombs. Is that the thing? Because there's still going to be females in the natural way. There's still going to be females born, and they're probably going to be human beings who care about those females, and probably want them to survive. So I mean, it's interesting how we talk about very discreetly about males and females when we're all, at least up to this point in human history, we're all coming from the same place. We're all coming from the same people. We're all coming from the same homes and the same environments and attending the same schools and in the same workplaces or mostly in the same workplaces. So in this new reality where this 12-year-old is only concerned about himself, and I'm curious as to where are those females while that is happening? Are they being is something ghastly happening to them, or what's happening
No,
to them? And the men are just kind of observing these terrible
they got
things
to get
happen.
out how they
How is
live.
that world?
Well, I'm gonna
Okay.
say it's gonna come
Well,
about because there
The
is a
Handmaid's
thing
Tale.
called no, there's a thing called single motherhood out here, and it's growing, and black women are at the height of it, and other women are gonna copy them. It's some feminism push anyway. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? You're gonna have these people growing up in single mother homes. So this 12-year-old gonna watch how men operate and he gonna start doing what men do because he gonna want to be a man. At the end of the day, how does this affect women? They're gonna be considered useless. So that's why I'm saying the population gonna drop dramatically because the men ain't gonna even be messing with the women like that. Now there will be some women who still can get a man to mess with them, and a baby will be born somewhere. This is going to happen, but we got billions of people right now. If that stuff happens, man, we gonna drop to under a billion people because
Yeah.
people
You
gonna
you
die and they're not gonna reproduce children.
you greatly
We can
underestimating.
entertain this.
We're
Let me say this
greatly
real fast, Black Rifle. We can.
underestimating. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Bronx Beach. Go ahead, Bronx.
Go ahead.
Bronx, go ahead. You on mute.
Well,
Bronx,
since
do
he
you
ain't
know you
saying
on mute?
nothing, since he ain't saying
Yeah,
nothing,
yeah, go
he
ahead. Go
wasn't
ahead,
saying
Bronx.
He wasn't going to say nothing anyway.
No,
But,
no, my bad. I went out. I went out. I went out. I
too
went out.
bad, too
No,
bad. You
I'm
lost.
about to say
You
this.
lost your spot. You lost
All
your
right,
spot.
look,
You lost your spot.
are we?
No,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
think
Go
we're
ahead.
greatly underestimating the survivability of women. What's going to happen is you're going to have men who are going to have 4, 5 actual wives. That's what's going to happen. They're going to find somebody that will take them in and take care of them. And trust me, even men up here that claim they hate American women and American black women. If 4 or 5 of them got together and say, we want to be your wives, nigga, you gonna leave Uganda.
Okay, now I'm gonna say
Immediately.
now I'm gonna say no one over here has actually claimed that they hate women, so we're not gonna just throw that out even as a joke.
I never
Okay.
said that part.
Number two, when that happens, yes, there will be multiple women trying to cling to one man. A man is only gonna want so many. And that's also a reality women gonna have to deal with. And then you're gonna have men who would take you, but they won't be able to afford you anyway. I can take a whole
No, the women will afford the men. They will work.
no,
They will work.
brother. When this stuff is
That's not
happening,
Uh-huh.
how.
the jobs are going to be dwindling. That's going to be the reality. The jobs are going to be dwindling. So they're going to be looking for men who are willing to take them on. All the men going to be worried about their jobs too, because we still don't
Yeah,
recognize jobs are
yeah,
dwindling.
you talking about, you talking about jobs, right? Like, uh, got a patch of land. I can do some fishing. I can grow some food. I can do some knitting. You know, maybe I got some sheep. I could, you know, shear some wool or whatever. I mean,
Oh, he getting it.
there
He
are a
getting
lot of
it.
things that women. There are a lot of there are a lot of things that women can do that is valuable work. You know,
Yes.
they don't have to be useless. They don't have to be useless. They can be
I'm not.
very useful. My mother and them, they used to slaughter pigs and shit. You know,
But my
my mother
robot
and them, they
done.
pick cotton and shit, and and
But my
and
robot
and
done.
and you know, cut off the. Well, your robot. I'm talking about in an environment where maybe somebody don't have access to a robot, right?
I'm messing
You
with
you
you. I'm
have
messing with
you
you. I'm
have
sorry.
your you have your 3D printers and whatever. That's fine. Women can be very useful. Well, I think this whole notion where women aren't or can't be useful. It belies history. For the vast majority of human history, women worked either inside, outside, or both sides. In families and communities and businesses, etc. Now, the work will be different, and much of it, I think, will be self-sustaining. I think we're going to move more to self-sustaining models of work. Whereas instead of working to buy food, nigga, you're gonna have to grow and catch your own food. So you're not
Yes.
gonna have to work to be able to pay Walmart for food. No, you're gonna have to eat a squirrel or some shit. And you probably end
Mm-hmm.
up liking eating squirrel.
Well, I was not trying to imply that women cannot work. What I am saying is, when things like this happen, you're going to have people that are going to respond. So there'll probably be more men responding with, let me get a patch of land. Let me buy a house outright. Let me get these acres so I can secure something for myself. A lot of women are not going to do that. It just is what it is because they're going to be women. So now you're going to have masses of women who are
No, they're
not in
gonna do
position.
it. They're gonna do it. They're gonna
Black,
do it.
black,
They're gonna
black
do it to
rule.
survive.
There will be
I mean,
They
some,
y'all
not doing
y'all
it
judge the
now.
but
behavior. You all judge the behavior of women too much based on this childish behavior with shit not put to the test. Some of these bitches are living in their cars. I bet you could make their ass do some farming to
what
eat in
what
a
black
year or so. I
but
guarantee you can.
I'm not saying you can't, but I am saying that in a society like we do already have, you do see women who end up living in their cars because they just won't do right even when it's necessary. And that's just a reality when it comes to a lot of women. Of course, there's some who still they got their own property, but it's a lot of women out here who live in the car because they just wouldn't do right. They just wouldn't pay the bill. They had the job, they had the money, they just couldn't pay it. Okay, they rather get their hair done. It just is what it is. They rather get their hair done. You know, now unfortunately, when there are men who are willing to take on some women, they're going to be thinking about these different things. So every woman is not going to get a man to take on. The top women, sure, the top women who are out there bogus. I ain't saying all women in general. I'm saying the top women who are out there bogus. They ain't got their stuff straight. The top of them will get some men to take them on. But outside of the top, it's pretty much over for the rest of them.
Your calculus is off, sir. Yo, wait. Your calculus is off, sir. According to our model, we got sex robots everywhere, functioning sex robots that are replacing women in the workforce as well as in the bedroom. So these are commonplace. So most men are dealing with them because it's easier. Remember, I was 12 years old and came to this realization with the rest of the 12-year-olds, right? So you're going to have women left out of the sexual marketplace. You're going to have men such as myself that'll say, I'll take 4 or 5 of you bitches. I'll take 4 or 5 of you.
Yeah,
I
but you're gonna
promise
take
you.
some toppers. You ain't gonna take the bottom ones. You're gonna take some toppers.
No. Ain't gonna be no top ones. The top one's gonna be with the millionaires and billionaires.
No. I'm
You
saying
just
the top. You gotta hear what I'm saying. The top that's
and
left out there bogus.
it depend on what work I need to be done. Look, I might not
bingo.
necessarily be all that physically attracted to big butt Bertha, but if she can do more work than the baddie on my farm, I'm gonna
Yeah.
add big ugly Bertha to my roster.
You may just do
Now
that
she
though.
gonna be part. She's not gonna be the only part of my roster. I'm also gonna have some baddies on my roster too. But
Right.
I'm gonna have somebody who can
Yeah.
move some stuff around and get some stuff done and know how to cook a pot roast.
I mean,
Now,
but Uru,
hold on. Let me just say this. I'm talking about from a numbers perspective, y'all. The of course there's gonna be people who are all good when these things go down. But there's gonna be a portion of women who are gonna be left out there bogus because they didn't get their stuff straight. I'm saying sure you'll have some guys who will say, I'll take 3, 4, 5 of y'all. But it's not going to be enough guys to take on all those women for them women to be covered. Because every guy is going to want something out of the women that he's taking on. And it just is what it is. Now, you may not
Oh,
need Big Betty, but you will be in a position where you don't even have to think about Big Betty.
once again, your calculus is off. You buying the robot. Big Bertha worked for me.
I
Your
understand that. I
calculus. No,
understand
no,
that.
no, 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 no. You misunderstand it. You financing this robot. It's like paying a car payment. You paying a subscription to keep it running. Big Bertha is bringing the check home. I want as many Big Berthas as I can put under the roof.
but isn't that the old basically agreement that men had with women? Basically, like you said like
That's
basically like
what we.
1,000 years ago.
That's what you gonna go back to. It's gonna be little small
Yeah.
fiefdoms, and these
Fiefdom.
women are going. You guys are underestimating what women will do to survive.
Yes.
You know what?
No,
Thank
You know what?
you.
I'm not
Thank you.
underestimating. I'm saying there's going to be a certain group of men that ain't going to care what they doing because they already got what they wanted, and there's going to be
Yeah,
some people left out in the cold.
Roger, there are billions of men though. You speak like there's this small population of men who are just going to have this limited, need for women. There are almost as many men as there are women, and those men are going to want whatever kind of deal they can make with women and or robots. Now, some of them, if they're wealthy, then obviously they can have a surplus of robots and women and all kinds of things happening. But if they're not
Hmm.
wealthy, then yeah, okay, I got one robot and I got 1 or 2 Keisha, or maybe Maria and Keisha. And Keisha's kind of hard headed, but she is a little robust and can get something done. And I know Maria's gonna always make sure my tacos are the way I like them. Them are the kind of deals that your average guy is going.
Mhm.
Them the kind of deals your average guy is going to be able to cut with
That's
Susie the robot.
funny.
With Susie the robot. Yeah.
As long as you own one robot, it can be the bottom model. That will always be the balance for the women that come in your house. Damn, the nigga can afford a robot. He don't really need me. I need
Yeah,
him,
basically.
Mm-hmm.
bruh,
Basically. So
bruh.
so once you get, it's like basically getting your house. Or I think I think
No,
what's the one point in time when a man get his house that he can basically set the rule because the woman didn't have no house at one point in time. So once you get your robot or you get your robot and you get your house, you like, hey, what you gonna do, woman? And she gotta either make a move or not. Because I'm telling you, I promise you, cloning will be a thing necessarily for the top people or the people who got enough money and know how. They gonna be doing something else. I promise you. The people who got the
Yeah.
top knowledge and the top know-how gonna be doing something else.
Well,
But everybody
I've
else that's not there, oh, bro, it's robot chick or regular chick.
I've already surmised we're gonna, eventually get back to what I imagine it was like as a colonial settler. You got these big patches of land that's unclaimed. So you don't buy a house. You cut some trees down and you make a house. You're gonna have people going back to stuff like that now because we already have governments and municipalities and things like that. Not gonna be quite the same. And yes, women are going to cling on to men because their life is dependent upon it. And that's the ones who can figure out that their life is dependent upon it. Because a lot of women ain't gonna even figure it out. Let's be realistic about them. A lot of women gonna die because they're not gonna even know it's that important to listen to a man. And they're gonna literally die before they figure it out. Just is what it is.
I'm gonna,
Women do crazy
I'm gonna be
stuff. Women,
I'm
there's
gonna be
women
walking up and down
now who don't
Cicero
have a
looking
place
for a
to live
hungry
because they
woman.
wanted their hair to get done.
but
They gonna be
no,
out
no,
there too. They
I'm
will be
walking
out
up.
there.
exactly. They gonna be out there too, bro. But I'm telling you, reset. All you gonna have to do is necessarily, I got a warm room and a blanket, bro, and they gonna come to you, bro.
Hey,
At that point in time, that's what you gonna be dealing with.
y'all keep dismissing something that I think Uru and myself we keep bringing up
Tell them again.
legislatively, right? How is this going to get through Congress? Because there's going to have to be regulations on this stuff, right? Like nothing is going to be introduced to the market without regulations, right? So if you read and just listen to this, if you read the
We
Creeper Act,
eating people, bro.
it's already sitting in the House. It's already been introduced into the House. This bill
Every,
establishes new federal,
We eating people. I think you
federal.
misunderstand where we at, bro.
But
every
let me
time
just finish.
bro
Listen,
come
let
to
me just
a
finish.
house party, they just cut the music off and turn the lights on. Every time. Every time.
Bro, you in the country where they eating
But
people,
listen,
bro, and ain't
Every time.
nobody been removed from positions yet, bro.
bro, just let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
Okay. This bill establishes new federal criminal offenses for conduct involving child sex dolls.
Uganda,
Specifically,
thank you. You're not even
specifically,
understanding that.
specifically, it makes it a crime to import, transport, buy, sell, distribute, or possess a child sex doll. A violator is subject to criminal penalty, a fine, a prison term, or both. Now, once again, they are using child sex dolls to try to create the extreme, to try to paint the picture that any man even touching a sex doll is a pedophile. They're trying to introduce that ideology into
They
society
said
right now as we
childlike,
speak.
bro.
We
So
already covered
that's
that.
what they
No,
call
no,
it,
no,
bro.
no. Bronk is correct.
We
They're
already
trying
covered
to
that.
have you have an automatic
Yeah,
thought that if he messes
stop
with a
trying to
robot,
just
he'll
shoot
mess with
down
a
any
child.
idea I introduce, man. I mean, at least
Yeah, yeah.
successfully challenge the idea that I'm introducing. That their thought process is not to just introduce the idea of pedophilia connected to a doll. They're just trying to connect
No,
that
no,
to
no,
a
no, no,
doll,
no, no,
so
no.
that when they update the legislation, for modern times, if this is ushered into our society, they're going to introduce bills to make it a crime at some degree. At
No,
some
no, no.
degree, there's
What,
going to be a battle between politicians to try to get control over this introduction of sex dolls into our
no,
society. And so the laws are going to be shaped and the regulations are going to be dictated around what they want. Because once again, black men are not empowered in the United States. Okay?
So we're
You,
going to
just said black men, then
access to this.
you say every man. So you can't. So you just
No,
manipulated the
no,
scenario we were talking about.
he's not manipulating. The thing is, we're not going to run that show. But I'm gonna tell you this: the people who are trying to do that, they don't want these robots on the market because though you have women afraid about what their place is going to be in the market. Now I'm gonna tell you what's going to trump everything: the billionaires who want to make money off these dolls, the billionaires who want to make money off these robots. They're going to matter more than anybody else. So it's going to eventually work out where it will come out to people in mass. And women are going to lose their place because once men think it's cool to have sex with a robot, that's what they're going to do. And let's keep it real. There's already a group of men who think stuff like that is cool. So they're just on the forefront of something that's going to be normalized later on down the road. But it's going to happen at some point. And I understand the women are going to fight it, but it's going to happen at some point.
I had to come back for one
It's
quick
not just
thing.
going to be women that fight against.
Bro,
Let me
I
open.
think there is a cause.
Well, hold on. Let
Go
Black
ahead.
Rule go. I hear him. Then I'm gonna get
Go
your
ahead.
opening statement in. Go ahead, Black Rule.
No. If somebody needs to make an opening statement, please let that
Yeah, he
brother
just
go ahead.
came up. We got Bailey Starks Enterprises into the building. So you got it, brother. Go ahead.
Thanks for having me up, y'all. Long live the virtual line steppers. I'm gonna make it quick and make it brief. I think y'all are not thinking about one thing. Outside of the robots, we already got AI. We already got the social medias. Say you get a wife that has these social media mentalities in there. I think the government will be afraid of my Keisha robot making sure I don't get locked up. My Keisha robot gonna have expert military grade precision to shoot anything that's going to harm me. She gonna protect this dick. And if I got 6 of them, what you think they're gonna do? I got a small army. They're gonna do everything for me. They're gonna make me some money. They're gonna build me some property. They're gonna help keep my car fixed. They're gonna protect this dick. And the government is going to be afraid of that. And if we got a compound, we got 100 acres, 200 acres. You think they're coming to get us? No matter, they'll probably. I'll have those Keishas or Darlenes build other Darlenes. I'll have them mass produce themselves to protect me. And I think the government is not going to be too cool with that because we're going to figure out a way because we're ingenuitive. We'll be the resurged as far as inventors. Some dude, if I'm sitting there drinking me a 40, I'm going to think about that. Or if I'm, decide to go back to blazing them up, I'm going to think about that. What if I have Darlene make another Darlene and download programs into her of every strategic military procedure to make sure we straight, or an automotive procedure, or a doctor procedure to keep me healthy, keep me alive for 200 years.
First of all, it's unlikely you'll be able to operate those things without some kind of external kill switch being able to be executed against them. Either that, or I just drone a little miniature EMP into your little compound and wipe out all that shit. That's an easy fix.
And I'm also going to
That's
say,
an easy fix.
I'm also going to say, nobody's going to sell a robot to the public that can make another robot. The people who make robots are smart enough not to sell you a robot that can produce another robot.
Hey, not only that, you know what, Uru, you might not even have to do all that. If you are a savvy enough hacker and you're able to hack somebody's AI robot,
find me some hackers.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! How you can make an AI robot wife malfunction? How you can make an AI robot wife malfunction?
You missing the opportunity.
There go my dick. She gonna suck it off.
Y'all missing.
Go there. I knew you were gonna do it.
Y'all missing the opportunity. Somebody throws an EMP bomb in your house, how much time they gonna give you for killing robots?
Man, I'm gonna teach you a lot, bro. If I'm an evil genius
Mm.
out there, if I'm an evil genius, I'm not gonna kill you, bro. I'm gonna program your robot.
No, no,
I'm
no,
gonna hack your
no.
robot, bro.
You missed the
What's the
joke, bro. You
legend?
missed the joke.
You missed the joke, man. That bro,
Yeah.
you
No,
missed it.
no,
You
imagine
missed
that
it.
conversation though. Somebody threw a goddamn EMP in my robot. I ain't paying this bill no goddamn more. Fuck that. My robot don't work no more.
They killed Fufu. I'm
The
telling you, bro, her
women,
ass is toast, bro.
the women,
No.
the
Them laws
the
ain't gonna be for
the,
no robots, bro.
the naturally born women will be walking around with EMP bombs
EMPs.
blowing up blowing up your
But
We're,
they'll
we're
stop
gonna have
walking
the
around
black
with
the
them
Black
Stay
EMP
that
Jaguar
bombs
robot
if they
movement.
robots, bro.
station.
Hey, fuck the Black Panthers. It's gonna be the Black Jaguar movement. This fucking going around neighborhood and shit. Fuck that Dwight Howard. He don't want to marry me. He makes 6 figures. He ain't trying to give me none of his money.
They not
Fuck
gonna have
him.
access to that.
You're right. You're right. It would
I,
go down pretty much like that. It's like burn the whole thing down. But before I wanted to just kind of like drop something real quick, like because y'all mentioned the whole thing about the laws and whatnot. Laws can change. We had how much financial deregulation over the years? A whole heck of a lot. We even had some establishment to try to avoid having like certain AI laws that that the current administration put into place. So that whole regulation thing just kind of like remind yourself that like laws are not set in stone; they can always change.
all right. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Soul Provider Speaks. He say why not just get a doll now? Why wait for the robot? Soul Provider Speaks. We're not doing an episode about what we want, and please don't crack jokes like that because realistically, don't you hold a channel where you talk about what they call geek stuff? It'll be I'm not saying you, but it'll be people that's kind of more into that stuff that's going to be going toward those robots first. Realistically, if you think about the character of the people, that's going to be kind of your audience that's going to go in that direction. And I'm just saying that realistically. So don't crack jokes like that, brother. We ain't trying to harm you. Don't come in here trying to harm us. But realistically, those are going to be people who are going to go toward those robot things first. Now, also, when it comes down to it, the government, I can understand a government trying to keep this out of society because of when you create a solution, you create a bunch of other problems too. That's just how the world goes. A solution is created, and then problems come with that because all kinds of solution came with powered things, but now you got pollution and things like that. You have more waste, you have more garbage. Solutions do create problems. So, I can understand the government just trying to figure out how they're going to control the people when this stuff is hits the mass market. But once the government kind of figures that out, then they're going to be available. And again, I think the billionaires are going to win. With multi-billions of dollars are going to want to make money off this.
Okay, so what is the billionaires winning? What does that look like for the rest of us?
we're
Bro,
renting
you still
we're renting these things initially. We're purchasing and renting them from the billionaires. They'll have, just like you go to a car lot, you're gonna have to go to them to get these things because they're initially will have access to them when we don't.
When these things are easily accessible to the public, right? I'm pretty sure most people or most billionaires may not be using them themselves,
They're
right?
gonna
I
have
doubt
the
that.
they're
You
gonna
doubt I
But
have the
doubt
they'll
that.
top.
but
They're
they'll
gonna have the top models. They're gonna have the best
they
models.
already have the top models, the top
They
actual
always
models, bro.
will. They always will.
Listen, they have the actual top models, bro. The
I think
female
you
human models.
misunderstanding.
They already have them.
Bro, they gonna have the best of both of them, bro. I think you misunderstood.
If
Listen.
They
The
gonna have the
billionaires.
best clone pussy, bro. The best
if
human
if
pussy and the
if
best robot
if
pussy.
I want to do something that phrase legality, then I probably would be more inclined to do it with the doll. And so the billionaires, yeah, you could have a beautiful doll, perfectly simulated, and a beautiful human being, but I risk more doing certain things with that human being versus the dom. So you're gonna have both, but they're gonna probably have different purposes. My more purient thoughts and deeds, I might direct towards the dom. Even the billionaire, even if I'm a billionaire, if I'm smart, which most billionaires are.
Yeah, they're not. How does the
Or you know
billionaire
they might.
continue on his lineage
No,
You'll see it
most
eventually,
certainly,
bro.
most self-made billionaires are smart. I'm not talking about lucky sperm club members. Most self-made billionaires are smart. They're not, maybe not necessarily decent people, and they may not be smart at everything, but they damn sure are smart at a few things.
They're good at what they need to be good at. That's all that matters. Hey man, like I said, you gonna have, bro, the top dudes, bro, they gonna have their clone genetic quote unquote woman that ain't gonna say no, bro, right? That's gonna be the top chick. Then you gonna have your robot chick gonna be your second chick or whatever, right? Then you gonna have your human woman gonna be your third backup. That's gonna be the millionaire class. They gonna have the best of best. And I'm telling you, when this thing start breaking off in little fiefdoms, bro, you gonna start asking yourself, would I rather live in Colombia or I'd rather live out here in let's say Wumbatuck, Nebraska or something like that, bro. I'd rather my fiefdom look like Colombia, bro. You know, I got a whole bunch of 7, 8s, and 9s walking around, and we cloning them or whatever we got. That's all I'm saying. If I got to choose what fiefdom I want to be in, I know which one I'm choosing.
it's not going to be that easily introduced into society though, because you're really talking about introducing essentially an entire new species into society that's
It's
competing
gonna
with the
be.
species that we already have, right? So
You already
That's the
doing that
part.
now, are we
are
not?
there enough
That's
Are we doing that now, are we not?
not
the
to the
whole point
degree
of the show.
that we're speculating about.
Are we doing that now? Are we not?
It's two species we're competing against.
Are we, bro? Eventually, bro, you will be doing that anyway, man.
I hear you.
Well, it wouldn't be two different species. I would say that one would just be cloned to just do whatever, but we ain't go that far. But
Yeah,
that's that
no.
Blade Runner stuff. But we ain't go that far.
There's no denying that it's already here, right? Like the stuff is already here.
I mean, bro, we
What
got
I'm kind of
cloned
pushing
kids.
back
We
on,
know it's here.
what I'm kind of pushing back on
Pig, sheep.
is the extremes, right? Like it's just the way that we're talking. It makes it seem like it's easily going to happen that way.
How is that extreme, bro? How do we go from extreme? But you say extreme like this is far, like this is a far jump. If you can already clone, no, if you can already clone animals, bro, you clone one person, right? Necessarily, right? One human female, right? Quote unquote, and you just clone it to have the look that you want. Come on, bro. If you can already have, I don't think that's a far jump, bro. Because you start telling women, hey, you can look this way. Women be beating down your door trying to get these genetic enhancements. And then if you start telling people, hey, you can be taller, you can be smarter, bro. Before you know it, folk will be out here fighting for you to quote unquote get these genetic enhancements.
So
bro. That's just me being honest with you.
So we're gonna easily be able to usher into our society sex doll Uber drivers that we can rent. That's not an extreme. That's actually like
DoorDash ass, huh? You gonna have the DoorDash ass.
That's not
DoorDash ass.
like
Because
to be clear,
in the 1930s, bro, if you were in the 1930s, bro, they would have never believed you would have been here now, bro. If you would believe in the 1920s, 1930s, they would not believe this shit now.
To be clear,
I'm a bogart a little bit and throw some elbows a little bit. To the brother that said that's not extreme. Extreme is relative. Extreme is relative, bro. Extreme is relative. It sounds extreme to us in 2026 as millennial and Gen Z and Xer and boomer men. It sounds extreme to us. It's not going to sound extreme to the Bs, to the betas, and it's not going to sound extreme to Gen Z. Yeah, no, what I'm saying, as boomer, Xer, millennial, and maybe the oldest of Gen Z men, it sounds extreme to us.
but it will not be extreme in 50 years, in 40 years.
It won't be, bro.
It won't be. You got to remember the environment, and the Roger Report was. I didn't get to listen to everything, but what the Roger Report was saying, these kids, these young men are afraid of nuclear rejection. Number one. Number two, a little bit of pushback to Raj. I don't think this starts off with rich men. Rich men are going to get married to real women. It's going to be Elysium. Rich men are going to get married to real women and have real kids, biologically, genetically modified. It's going to be upper middle class.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me to say it there.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Okay, my bad, the Roger Report. But whoever said that, no, I think socially awkward upper middle class men. So Mark Zuckerberg before the billions, him, he is the one who ends up with the sex robots, and then eventually it gets to the price point. So this is what I do agree with. It gets to the price point, and it gets socially acceptable enough, where you niggas in the hood gonna be messing with it. What I'm saying is initially socially awkward, weird white dudes and the small hats are going to be the ones, and the Asian dudes are going to be the ones who deal with it first, and eventually it becomes more and more socially acceptable. And then the young men who are not necessarily that viable for women are going to be messing with it. And quite frankly, we do get to a place where women going to be chasing down men, because what they provide economically is just not going to be it. Especially if you're talking about colonizing other planets, if you're talking about mining asteroids, if you're talking about going deep sea diving and mining the deep sea, women ain't gonna be doing stuff like that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Whoever
Z, I disagree with you to this extent. Let's say you have a sex robot that is almost not seamlessly human, but is just about past that uncanny valley thing where you almost feel like this is a human being. The cost of that initial model is going to be prohibitive for all but the wealthiest people. Just in that initial line of robots is probably going to be millions of dollars, and a billionaire is going to buy it because a billionaire can buy any goddamn thing he want to buy. So he gonna buy it just because it's just the next thing to have. Like I got 20 or 30 cars that cost $1 million, so it'll be just that kind of thing for them. And then it'll go from there to then maybe wealthy, but not necessarily billionaires, where it goes from maybe those initial cost, let's say $5 million or $1 million or whatever, and then it'll go down to maybe $1 million or 500,000, and that's likely in terms of economies of scale and cost of production and that kind of thing. So it is going to start from a billionaire, because a billionaire can afford to frivolously pay for something like that because it's new, and they're going to get it because it's new. Is new, and they have everything else in the world. They have yachts the size of fucking cities. So why not spend $5 million on something that really acts like a human being? Why not? So it will be the richest folks first.
Yeah, because I was
write it off on taxes, right?
Because I was really stuck on the concept of they don't really. What's going on? We have a class issue. I don't know if people realize I've been emphasizing that more and more in my channel. What we have now is the elites are the ones getting married, staying married. All the rest of us are freestyle. All the rest of us, you get married, you'll get divorced within 5 years. You have your long-term relationship, it blow up in 5 years, 10 years if you're lucky. And once you get to hundreds of thousands and millionaires, those are the folks that get married and more often than not stay married. And I'm just using that as a sign of stability. That's all it is, right? So I was thinking of it from that angle, like they don't need the robots, but
no.
You're saying that that's something to consider.
If I'm a billionaire, I'm staging all female orgies with half humans and half sex robots just to watch that shit go down and trip out about it naked while I probably wore myself off watching. You know,
So
if I'm a billionaire, that's probably the kind of stuff I'm doing.
So Diddy with robots, anyway. But anyway,
I'm cloning
Yeah.
women. I'm telling you, I'm
Yeah.
cloning women. Give me the money. It's gonna be me. I'm cloning big boo Ugandan big women for everybody, bro. I'm telling you,
yo, man,
it's gonna, y'all gonna love it, bro.
But I mean,
Y'all
like,
gonna love it, bro.
this is something to really consider. I mean, we've been seeing for a century now. We've been seeing movies kind of speak into this, especially getting from what would you say, Black, from mid '70s on up, definitely early '80s on up. All the techno dystopian movies that were loosely or strongly based off of books.
Well, yeah, the
that
Charlton
spoke to this.
Heston, the it kicked off with Planet of the Apes in what 68 or whatever. All those dystopian Soylent Green and Cannonball and all that kind of stuff. Well, yeah.
But then when you start getting to the techno dystopian stuff, that's the stuff where it mixes the modern and upcoming technology with the social environment. And that's the thing I think we go slow walk into or moonwalk into. Maybe for some of us who are in the know, Black Man is here, some of us that watch all these stuff and that read up on some of the upcoming stuff or whatever the tech guys are working on. We're more aware of the Boston Dynamics and all that other stuff. We're more aware, but everybody else is going to kind of get sideswiped with what this is going to do to the social environment. So the technology is going to be dope. It is going to be all that stuff that we've been watching for the past, give or take, 50 plus years. But socially, right, with the air quotes loosening of some of these norms and rules and stuff, that's where you're going to get the young men and the young women in this kind of gender divide becoming even more exaggerated because the environment's going to allow for you not to need each other on that level. But you kind of do still. You kind of do, but you kind of don't. Right? And that's where the technology come in and fill in those gaps. That's what I'm arguing. And I don't know how you maintain that connection when so much of the technology and the environment is tearing you apart.
Let me know what people you're gonna be at, bro.
I don't think we'll ever get there. I don't think we're ever going to get to the point of where you see technology dystopia. I think right now we're going to see the shift from east to west. I think in the future, I think we're going to be struggling just to survive, man. With the post-labor economy, UBI, which is probably going to be like nothing. We won't be able. We just won't be able to afford things like that moving forward.
What do you mean by that when you say afford things like that? I'm lost.
Afford robots.
Okay, so it's gonna be too much of a cost prohibitive and a luxury item.
It's going to be cost prohibitive. It's going to be materially.
Can I talk?
It's going to be materially expensive.
For hours. I've been saying things for hours. So when it's going to I just don't think the stuff we see in the movies. I think it's just not going to exist. I think America is on its way to being a second industrialized company. I think we're going to be on public assistance moving forward. I think that the way we make money and things like that, I think we're going to go back to the barter and trade system because after the situation with Iran, the American empire is done.
So America gonna be looking like Tatooine then, basically. People gonna be in small little burst little communities necessarily, right? Because you ain't gonna have no industrial cities. You gonna have your replicator out here making your base good models.
I'm gonna say America is going to look like what UK looks like right now. Strapped with debt, very little GDP, not making anything, just gonna be a forgotten world.
Let me ask Computer Love this. Let me ask him this because this is I don't know how many of us seen this video. And you probably seen it, Computer Love. It's coming from where you're coming from. Don't worry, I'm not gonna put you in no jeopardy. It's a video of the young man and he's moving the swords around with gestures, and it almost looks like an AI video, but it's not. This dude is moving like a dozen. So you see, okay, so we see that video. So what I'm saying is that technology does not look necessarily cost prohibitive. Right. So, but that isn't, where you are, almost in it. But you know what I'm saying. So I do think some of these things are going to be affordable for the masses. So I mean, even in America, right? So I don't.
No, because
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah, I'm
you
sorry.
gotta no, but you gotta look at look at Germany post World War II. Look at Ukraine and Poland post World War II. You got to look at those countries and how long it took to rebuild them and restructure and stuff like that. After this, America is going to be too broke from the war, and America has to rebuild. Man, it's not going to look like that.
Hey, hot sauce. Do you think this is
Well,
going to look more like the Book of Eli?
No.
Well, no, I mean, the thing about it is this. The thing about it is this. It's like highly and highly improbable that America fights a war on American soil. If America fights a war on American soil, bro, at the end of the war, we're going to be so broke. Infrastructure is going to be done. Like we ain't got time for that. But I don't think that'll happen. I don't think we'll ever fight a war on American soil. But I think that the because you got to look at it this way, right? This war is not only costing us militarily. This war is costing us diplomatically. After this, we will not have any type of say or sway in the Middle East after this because once Iran kept bombing the Middle East where U.S. bases are, no one's gonna believe in our help for defending their country after this. So we lost control of that, right? So we lose control of that. We're gonna lose control of the petrodollar. And then we're already pissing off our friends in NATO. It's just a mess. Oh, that's just diplomatically and economically. On top of that, once we lose this war, how are we going to recover from it? All the money being spent.
we're going to have, I think we're going to have the second slave trade. We're going to be farmed out to other countries, let's say prisons, so we can help with this AI. So we can help these robots
Well,
with
and I think
our.
I think
No, I
everybody
think you guys are grossly exaggerating the fall of
Yeah,
America.
y'all kind of went a little
Because
too far on
here's
that
the
one,
one
bro. I mean, America's
here's the
still a
one
superpower,
here's
bro.
the one problem. Here's the one problem in that formula. Somewhere in the range of about 5,000 nuclear warheads all throughout the world. When was the last country, for example, that was invaded that had nuclear bombs?
No, I'm saying
When was the last
I
one?
said we won't get invaded.
Let's.
Yeah,
I
Okay.
said that.
There's
and even this
yeah.
whole when you have that level of might, even with all the other economic problems, you go into every dealing with everybody with a fundamental fear factor.
No
And
one's
so
scared
there's
of
going to
America.
be motivation to America will not totally lose its presence in the Middle East. It's going to
Yes,
lessen, that's for
yes.
sure.
All right. All right.
It's
No one,
definitely going to lessen,
What we gonna
but it
do?
is not going to because it's too much in the best
no
interest
one,
of all those entities for America to retain some degree of power
no one
for
is
maintaining
afraid
some
of
degree of
America.
stability amongst people who otherwise don't necessarily even like each other.
America just did a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. China said, if you fuck with us, we're going to fuck you up. What happened?
Okay.
Trump stopped the blockade.
Guess what?
Nobody's
Guess what, y'all? We gonna end the stream because I don't know what this got to do with robot wives anymore.
Man, I just was about to
You
say
know what
that.
I'm saying?
I
Because
was just about to
ruined it
say
from the
that.
beginning,
no,
man.
I mean I don't. Y'all
It's about who
so-called
gonna get the best
subject.
robot wives, us or China.
I walked away for a second, and next thing you know, we was across the sea. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the heck happened. But
Hot sauce
Who gonna
started
get the
this.
best robot wives,
No,
man?
no,
Hot sauce started
Well,
this.
I mean, you can't have a
You started this.
you can't have a robot wife without you can't have a discussion of robots' wives without even actually talking about the real politics of. I mean, look, there's a reason they tried to do on subject. They tried to do a brothel in Houston about 5 years ago with robots. They shut that shit down.
Damn, I missed
They
that.
shut it down.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So I mean, the real and my point of saying the politics and the government prevent. Now, it was not necessarily illegal or legal. There was debates about the legality of it and the zoning of it. But the bottom line is when the politics and the government say it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. or
today,
it's going to happen a certain kind of way consistent with the politics in that government.
see,
Ooh, ooh,
today,
ooh. When I tried to
hold on.
introduce that too.
Today's politics are not tomorrow's politics. Right now,
He's right.
America is operating under the framework of today. 10 years from now, or even 5 years from now, we're going to see a whole new, different America, a whole different new level of politics, and a whole new way of interacting with machines and technology. It's already happening now, right? What is that? Generation Alpha already are used to interacting with screenshots more than human beings already anyway. So when these motherfuckers are 30 years old, fucking a robot will be a big deal.
There is something to be said about how do you come up with this technology without globalization? Because who's mining what? Who's conducting what? Who's, having a self-sustaining, and that's what I was saying. So that I don't see how the US doesn't come up, but China does without that same global network, without the free navigation sea lanes. You need a nation to do that. So unless China gonna step
That
in for the US in that, I don't see how China come up and the US doesn't.
they're not there's going to be a reformulation of relationships. America's going to become less dominant, less
Exactly.
preeminent, but it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. It's going to be more of a negotiated world
I agree.
and less
This
a
is a whole continent y'all
top-down
talking
world.
about.
Nope, it's going to be is the new powers is going to be, mark my words, and by 2035, China, Israel, Singapore.
Okay, well, me and you will shake on that belt.
All right.
It'll be China necessarily. I'll say South Africa, and then we'll say someplace in.
China, Israel, Singapore. Watch. And
Israel ain't gonna make it though.
Israel will be the technology hub. Israel will be the technology hub for digital finance, for
Yeah, man,
robotics.
y'all believe in these white folk more than I do, bro. That's crazy.
For robotics, Israel will be the technology hub for robotics, for digital finance, and for your wife. And the
For
operating
all of you brothers that don't believe in the robot wives, y'all see me walking down the road with two Jada Fires. Just know I'm charging you niggas double what I charge everybody else because y'all ain't believe.
Skin
Just know
diamond is more my
this.
speed, but you can have that.
I'm charging you niggas double.
And I'm telling you, when I'm out there cloning my second girl before you, I'm telling you, man, I'm charging triple, bro.
All right, real quick. I'm gonna step away again for a hot second. We finna wrap this up because we already well past the 3 hour mark. So I'm gonna start with Great Black Reset side. We're gonna work our way to Mr. Z. You know what, Red Pill Super Sale, you only really asked the question. You want to make an opening statement before I start closing statements? Red Pill Super Sale.
Louis.
I'm here. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm here at work now.
You want to make
Be
an
good to
opening because
others.
we're gonna start
Uh,
closing because you technically just asked the question. You didn't actually make a statement.
well, I'll make my closing statement. Be good to others. First and foremost, be good to yourself first.
Sounds good to me. I'm gonna dip out for a second, so y'all just make your closing statements across the board without me. Starting on Great Black Reset side, working in Mr. Z. I'll be back in a couple minutes. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna say, I know you Negroes don't believe. I know y'all don't believe that this is gonna happen, but this is gonna happen. I understand that the gynocracy got the legislation and all that other kind of stuff. But you know what? Brothers gonna get tired of laying flat. Just like the Chinese got tired of laying flat. They just gonna get tired. And one of the things that men love to do more than anything is have sex. And they ain't gonna let a woman get in the way of their pleasure. This is gonna happen, and I'm charging you niggas double simply for your lack of faith.
All right, man. My response to that is going to be we need to actually think about the legality behind all of this and how that will look for black men, right? Because any benefit to society always reaches us last, okay? But apparently, when I try to talk about the politics behind bringing in robot wives. Reset one to turn off the music and turn the lights off. I'm gonna go ahead and let him turn off the music and turn the lights off.
You can go next. You can go. I'm not gonna call a man big booty, so you can go
Big
next.
Booty Uganda, you next.
Oh, what's up? Oh, thank you, God. I think this is a good moment. This is a blessing for everybody because I mean, at one point in time, getting a big booty Ugandan was actually only for Uganda and people who actually travel to Uganda. In the future world that I will be creating, yes, I'm going full Anakin Skywalker. In the world that I will be creating, bro, it will be big booty Ugandans for everybody. So, y'all welcome.
We still don't like the way you said it, but anyway, Valley starts.
Well, we will
You, bro.
definitely, we're definitely going to be experiencing it, and it's just a matter of how we can adapt to this culturally on a block by block basis. But I know I'm gonna get my robot pimping on. I'm gonna get one, and then one's gonna make me some money, and it's gonna turn to 5, and that 5 gonna turn 10, and that 10 gonna turn to 50, and we're gonna have to pay the whole time if
That's
they
what
can
I'm
get the
talking about.
legislature.
That's what I'm talking about. We're gonna start a forum together. I'm gonna get in touch with you, brother. Black Uru.
Yeah.
But I look at this and I'm, I think we kind of evolved together as a species. Men and women, male, female, mammals. Human mammals can debate whether how we evolved. And now we're suggesting that we could be fundamentally changing, perhaps to some degree, even eliminating that relationship, right? That sort of fundamental need and draw to each other, where when you you'll see a 3-year-old boy or 4-year-old boy, and he'll look at a woman and be instantly attracted to that woman because she's a woman, even though he's a little boy. So we're talking about really kind of changing that formula there a little bit. I don't think there's any way you can do that without it having ramifications far reaching and far in excess of just being able to kind of conveniently get a momentary orgasmic release. I think it's a fundamental change in the relationship between human beings. Like I say, I don't even know what's the purpose of even women being here if men don't want them. Like, think about that. What's the purpose of women being here if men don't want them? And then why are we here if the women don't want to birth us because our daddies didn't want them? So, I mean, I know I sound kind of philosophical here, maybe overly philosophical for the subject matter, but I do think there is a more serious thing here to consider than just the issue of the sex robot, the convenience of it, the cost of it, etc. I think there's a fundamental human issue here that if and when this does ramp up in terms of its frequency and participation, a heavy price is going to be paid for it. And I think we're all going to end up paying part of that price as a species. And I'll end my closing statement with that.
Hey, in the spirit of Roger, I'm gonna say, bring on Scott.
Wait. Oh, okay. But so, damn, my background. Give me a second. Go.
Okay, Black in Effect.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. My background is kind of loud. I'm trying to move about so that I could. I don't know. Louis want to make a closing statement, and then I'll go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll make my closing statement.
All right, go ahead.
If y'all do get y'all robot, do not get a Keisha robot. It would be the ultimate downfall for you.
All right, we're gonna go back around to the Ivy Leaguer since Black and Effects ain't ready.
No, let him go first.
He ain't ready.
No, not. He's not ready. No, I get the last word, so I guess
All right,
if
all
I
right.
Okay, so
Black
let me
and
let me let me see.
Effects.
Let me try. Let me. Okay,
You must.
so I'll
Super
say
chat.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let me say this. So look, I think Black Guru kind of gave the perfect springboard for me. What we're gonna fundamentally deal with is what does it mean to be human, and how much of this type, because what technology is allowing us to do in the social environment is allowing you to be that individual you want to be, and what is that going to really cost you? What does humanity and being human really look like when you get to be that little hyper individualistic person you always wanted to be, right? And what connections are you making with the same sex, with the opposite sex, when there is no sex, not with a real human being, right? So that there's a lot of like existential questions to ask here. What
can
does
you
it
stop
look like
talking,
when
I
this?
can't hear him.
he's
Oh wow.
talking. He's talking. Go ahead,
Oh,
bro.
okay, yeah. What does it look like when you have the technology to allow for us to not to connect on that level, right? When men no longer want to be around women and would rather be around something artificial that imitates a woman, what does that mean? And your brain rewires to make you see her as that, as a
All
real
right,
woman,
I'm coming
right?
back in to jump on top
Go
of
ahead.
Mrs. E's closing statement to give
Oh
him
man.
a maybe a moment or two if you need it, and then also because you just got your wrench and you dared to say I ain't have no wrench, like this don't feel right or something like that. Like I wasn't telling people to show up to get their wrenches when I was giving out all the wrenches, which a nigga obviously didn't show up to get his wrench.
Oh
And now he
man,
act
I
like
didn't
it's
know
my
about it.
fault.
My bad.
Now he act like
Uh,
it's my fault. He didn't get his wrench. But I
wait,
told everybody say
wait,
wrench in the chat so you can get your wrench. Ain't that about nothing?
wait a minute. Wait a minute, Roger. First of all, you left me to host the show, and the rules are you don't interrupt the guest and you don't interrupt the host. So I need you to fall back. Let Mr.
Oh,
Z finish
oh,
his
bro.
statement.
Hold on, bro. Hold on, bro. Hold on, bro. I appreciate you for stepping up, but let's say this. The rule is you get a 2-minute uninterrupted opening statement. We have
Right,
yet
right,
to put a
right.
rule down about a closing statement, so screw that dude. How about that? Screw that dude.
Oh
Not
man.
you.
Oh God.
Not
Wow.
you. Him.
Wow.
Him. Not you. You
Wow.
good. You
Well,
good.
well,
Wow.
Okay?
well, sir, stop interrupting me because I'm hosting the show. And now,
Wow.
Okay.
Black in
So
Effect,
so
please finish what you
All
were
right. What,
saying.
what,
the the
read them
Rudely.
super chats too, though. Read them super chats
the
since you hosting.
I'm
Make
gonna
sure you
get the
get those
super
the
in.
chat right after he get done. I'm gonna get the super
Okay.
chat right after he
wow,
get done.
wow.
Perfect.
The Roger report didn't say F them kids, he said F them guests. Wow. F the guest, F the panel. But yeah, no, so ending out, right? Like ending out, no, I think that we have some real questions to ask ourselves. And it is getting real right now, right? So we're not there yet, but between the artificial wounds, between social media and the friendships that we're forming here and the bonds, and bro, we have some real questions, and it's our generations to ask that and kind of set the tempo for the ones coming up behind us, right? We're not there yet, but we're the ones that got to set that up for the ones coming up behind us, because they're going to have some real fun questions to ask about what does it mean to be human in the next, not even in the next now, but really in the next 20 years, 30 years, when that technology does catch up to what we're saying now. And I would implore, I'll end out with this. I will implore all of us to start watching those movies and those television shows and reading those books, all those technical dystopian stuff, because that's what your future is going to look like. Especially for those of us kind of under the age of like 50, we're going to be here for that. We're going to be here in the next 20 years, 25 years to see that stuff. So that's a lot of stuff. And I'll pause right there. And thank you for having me up.
All right, cool. Thank you, Mr. Z. And before we get our honored guest up here, we're gonna go to super chats. And we got at Trill Ass Tread. He says, "Are those wives kosher or halal?" Man, listen. Let me tell you something. All
They
I know
halal, man.
is they gonna be a
Or
whole
heathen.
lot of fun. We going out with a bang. We going out with a bang. When the human race goes out, we going out with a bang. Just like these women been giving us the middle finger, we going out giving them the middle finger. That's what I'm gonna say. And the
All right,
second
bro.
super chat is from Detroit XRP 313. Hey man, sell me some XRP. I've been trying to pick some of that up. It's normal for AI bot to take over humanity and dangerous for human beings share companionship to destroy whole world. So I'll say to that, man, listen, we don't care nothing about that. We are on the path of mutual destruction. Men and women have decided we don't have enough of each other. This is mutual destruction. And in the end, we gonna figure out who gonna have the best time being destroyed. I think we gonna win as men. We sick of these hoes. This is what's happening up here.
And the
This
last
is what's
laugh.
happening. Yes,
Well, you
and Geogamy, last minute intervention fees. Geogamy, we appreciate it. The $2.50 Trail Bentley tax. We absolutely appreciate it. We absolutely appreciate it. Man, we don't have a good time up here. Let me get our Ivy League in here, Mr.
Whoa,
Hey, don't be sound like
whoa,
the crab
whoa,
legs
whoa,
now.
whoa. Mr. Gilgamy came up. He wanted to say something before we close out. Okay, he want to say something before we close out. So
All
I
right,
know we're
Mr.
giving hot sauce the last word. So
All right, Geogamy, what you got?
Okay. First, thank you, Roger, for having me on the panel. Salute to everyone on the chat and in the panel. To address what Sir Blacko was mentioning about the men still needing a form of organic women interactions and the women not necessarily disappearing as a whole automatically, I would venture to say that with the robot women would also come bioengineered women as well as artificial womb. And artificial womb will also come as a mainstream technology as a way to quote unquote help those women who cannot give birth properly. So the technology will spread as a whole, which would also enable men to have children without the intervention and the necessities and restriction of women, organic women. The use of robot women as well as bioengineered women will force the masses of regular women to comply to men's demand or risk through the next 120, 150 years extinction without a drop of blood being wasted on the floor, because gradually the new humans who will be produced will be those reproduced through artificial womb technology, and men will have also the auxiliary opportunity to use either synthetic bioengineered women or robot women for companionship, which would then force women to either comply with the demands of men without having the economical crumbling of the diminution of natural women being born. And at the same time, there will be a manifestation of natural humans colonies formed outside of the high-tech technologies cities. Those naturally born women and also naturally born men who would not want to participate in the high technology would serve as a safeguard for the new technologies, because that way they will have a natural born humans in case the new bioengineered men and humans and women will meet dysfunctions later on in the centuries or millennia ago. It will be something like in Men of Steel, but something also combining the Zions of the Matrix, where you have human colonies just in case the humans in the Matrix end up malfunctions. You would have the still original humans in external colonies. That
He
would
can
be
see it, bro.
that would be
Well
how it would
said.
happen.
Well said.
He can see it.
We got and we got no placeholder with the $2 super chat says late to the party. Sign me up for a Keisha 3000. Nah, we're gonna have to give you the Keisha 1000 because you came late. We all out of the 3000, fella. But we gonna see what we can do for you. She gonna
And
talk
I think
trash.
3,000 ain't right, bro.
Yeah, she
this
she
would be
gonna she gonna talk trash. She ain't gonna act right, and she only gonna give you coochie when you pay her. That's what you gonna get.
so those new humans could be labeled as children of men, as in the old saying. They will not be children of women, but they will be as surely children of men,
Children of
especially
men,
since
yes.
now we can produce embryo strictly from the genetic material of men, since men possess both Y chromosome and X chromosome without women eggs. Thank you very much. That was my intervention.
Gotta go.
Hey,
Bro, I want my fiefdom of Colombian women necessarily, bro. I'm gonna have my fiefdom of Colombian women, bro. Hey man, y'all better get down where y'all can now, though, bro.
All right,
We're gonna need
I'm gonna
you
jump
some.
in and say something real hosting. I guess once Hot Sauce say his thing, then I'm gonna let him close the show out. You know, since he stepped up, I'm gonna let him close the show out. But I'm gonna say this. I mean, it ain't no joke about the mutual destruction if we gonna get on this path and not get off. I'm gonna say what I said earlier. Yeah, it's we gonna get on. If we get on this ride, it's gonna be bad for us. Period. You know, for the short period of time, I think we ain't gonna have a lot of fun with the situation because the women have become so annoying that a lot of men are just not gonna really talk to them. And once you got men already focused in that direction, you're gonna have other young people following what they see, and they're gonna be like, "Well, women ain't that don't seem to be that big a deal." So, yes, they cool, but you know, it's like it's gonna be like a pretty woman, y'all. If you run across a woman who's truly attractive, truly beautiful, great body, great face, however you like it to be, boy, she looks super good day one. But day 381, she don't look quite the same. Cause now you actually know her. You've been spending time with her. She don't hit you the way she did day one. It just don't happen. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's day 3,681. It's a little bit different then. So yeah, this will be good in the beginning. It's gonna be disastrous toward the end. But shout out to all the people who are listening to this from the future on the Roger Report Live. If y'all listen to some old stuff and you're 100 years in the future, look, when y'all destroy y'all selves, remember, they told us, I think it was 1984, they gave us Terminator. We heard, we didn't even really know what the internet was for real. And they told us about Skynet. We saw the internet come into existence, at least to our knowledge. You know, we saw it come into existence. We knew what the plan was, make the robots. The robots would eventually destroy humanity, and we built them anyway. So y'all don't feel bad in the future because we was just as dumb as y'all is. Real talk. We just as dumb as y'all is. We saw the whole thing, and we did it anyway. And I'm going to leave it right there, y'all. So for me personally, I'm Roger, I'm right, and I'm out.
We got another super chat by No Placeholder. He said, "But she will never get old, though. GBR, it's worth it." I can't even disagree with that. I can't even disagree. Now we have
If
our
you
Whartons.
if you recall, Roger, in T2, the person who created the problem was a black dude.
Yeah. And he went out with a bang.
They always put it on the black dude. They always
Man.
put it on the black dude. That ain't nothing new.
Blame
That
Tyrone.
ain't nothing
Tyrone
new. They
did it.
always spin it on the black dude.
Tyrone tore up the
The
future.
great Joe, Papa, it was it Papa, what's his name? Scandal, the great Joe Mort. Yeah.
Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
that's fun. Papa Pope.
Joe Mort.
Papa Pope did it.
Papa Pope.
Yeah, Papa
Papa
Pope.
Pope.
It was Papa Pope did it. Yeah.
The one man that
Back
wouldn't
in
do it,
the
that's
year
who they pin it
1800,
on.
yeah, it was his fault. It was his fault.
All right. We're gonna close the show out with Computer Love. Computer Love, what you got for us, big dog?
Shout out to you, fam. Shout out to the gentleman on the panel. Shout out to you, Roger. Thank you again for allowing me to grace your illustrious panel. Back, like I said, 1985, Charlie Wilson, Shirley Murdoch, and Roger Troutman. Let y'all niggas know back in 1985, in the R&B song hit "Computer Love," that we will one day be looking for our ass to be lit by the computer. And now here we are, 40 some years, almost 40 years later, and that song was prophecy. Now, as all the gentlemen on the panel have said, this is a one-way ride to destruction. This is a one-way ride to genocide. But if you have to go out like Elvis, baby, and that's it.
Hey man, this has been another great Roger Report Live. We hope y'all enjoyed the show. We'll be back 9 o'clock Chicago time, not 9 o'clock your time. 9 o'clock Chicago time. And I'm GBR. I'm right, and I'm out.
Yeah.